Okay, yeah, now we're recording. Yeah, let's talk about that. So we had a dramatic reading of some stuff you texted me.
Dramatic, if I didn't stutter.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah.
Little talk. We're little dense talk. A little more dense talk. Another trust exercise, if you will.
It's not a trust exercise. Filler.
in addition to the cool little text, which I felt the need to record. And thank you for your reading. And also, this creature is, I'm still using her image actually, is Arachne. It's the name of the Wendigo. You also wrote me some minor RP details. Shell realizes something between Rob Star, her mother, and Star Senior. Senior cut off Junior over the bastard child. He saw it as infidelity. Size taking of your mother. It led to Junior being disinherited, but they're worth billions, just like 7 Bill. Though this opens the idea to Psy being a dream delver, I don't know what that is. However, the Atlantean device Shell has amplifies her skill rolls passively, and skill with a specialty becomes a 9 again. Further unlocking the Atlantean device is going to be more RP plays. Trying to make rich, deep lore, but also a game. Last, you need to be aware you have an intuitive radar, but it's weak now. Currently, it senses long-range energy, but you feel the variety, and could assign them designations if you knew better. Think of this as bardic stuff. You can sense where you should go to get to whom. So there we go. So I need to write all that down on my character sheet. But yes, so that is cool. And
right now, like I want to talk to you about this. Right now, the feelings that you get from these energies are just gray, like gray with the slightest tinges of color. Yeah. And I'll be going into the hues later on, and you'll have to discern for yourself what they are.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's what's going on with that.
So I'm developing superpowers, so that's kind of neat. And some stuff happened with Doug behind the scenes, which I will not talk about at this time. We're gonna clear things. We're gonna see if Auxentius wants.
Yeah, Doug got his creepy text too.
Yeah, if he likes it, we can put it on my channel. We can put it on his channel. I'm down for that. I just want it on the playlist, and we should be good to go. Okay, so have we decided what we're gonna play today? Are we gonna do Pokemon? Are we gonna do something else, or do you want to just talk about Pokemon for a bit?
Well, I was going to have a slight discussion with you about the state of the Pokemon game.
Okay.
So I was talking to Eddie prior to starting the recording. Mm-hmm. The problem that I've encountered with the Pokemon game, this is sort of like frustrated DM stuff, is I actually wrote myself into a corner.
Okay.
You see, Eddie's character couldn't possibly begin to translate unknown, which is the universal Pokemon language. There's regional dialects to Johto and Unova and the Loa, so that's me being a big nerd. But anyhow, the most simple thing he can get to is like he's an American fighter pilot. The closest he can get is Unovan, and from there, there's even the universal language of unknown. So technically, he could go through this, but I think the guy that I showed him was Professor Oak. I dropped his ass in fucking Kanto.
Professor Oak's dead?
Everybody's dead.
No, but, I don't really care. That's a person I know!
It's the only person. That name's familiar. I know that name. Okay, let's talk about Bill the Pokemaniac. Oh, I don't know who the fuck he is.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, screw him. And Giovanni, right out. But
I know about him from Christian, so...
okay. Sorry, let's talk about Mr. Hoji.
Let's talk about Christian. So how does Christian factor in all this? Did Christian destroy the Pokemon universe? Is that what happened?
What? Christian?
Yeah, is this a Sonichu crossover?
Oh, God, no. Anyhow.
Okay.
So, thank you for reminding me to swallow my bile. And let's get back on subject. So the problem as a DM is you want to create the mystery box. Now, the mystery box is a writing style. Eddie, do you know who has the mystery box?
Yeah. JJ. Mystery boxes. It's just a mystery. It's something awesome's in the box, and then it turns out to be a mediocre film.
That's the problem, is you can't just have this box in the corner with a question mark on it just keep growing in size. You can't just be like, this box is pooping out bats. Now it's pooping out snakes. And now it's pooping out clowns. Like, you gotta be like, why is this box doing this at some point? And you're gonna rip open that box.
Yeah.
But Abrams had to have it.
You get a 7 out of 10 movie that way.
Yeah, that's the annoying part. Is like all of his movies, his starter movies, like Super 8, Cloverfield, all these movies that have just a story that you're thrust into. It's great because you're sitting there going, "What? Why is this going on? I'm intrigued. I have to find out more. What? Why is this going on? I'm intrigued. I have to find out more." Continuously, like when I was watching Cloverfield, didn't give a fuck about the people. I'm like, when are these assholes going to stop talking so I can see a giant monster? And of course, it was about those assholes the entire time, with some giant monster thrown in. However, the way it's portrayed, though, is like, I don't give a fuck about the assholes doing their shit where they're having sex and they can't get a relationship going because he's moving away and other cut great shit. But, like, when it gets to the monsters, though, you're like, wow, why is there a giant monster? Why are these little monsters coming off of it? What happens when you get bit? Everybody's freaking out about the bite. They took her away. She's in a tent. Did she fucking explode? Like, shit like that's going through your head.
Clearly, you just need to watch 10 Cloverfield Lane, and that'll explain everything.
Well, it's the idea of a relationship. This is the unfortunate part for you. You are going to develop crushes on people that you think about. It is not a thing that just happens. Love is a lie. Anyhow, but this is why you
biologically equivalent to large quantities of chocolate.
People you go to school with, like, unless you're just feeling lust, which is that immediate desire for somebody. But like the idea that you've developed kinship and bonds,
and then your dungeon master won't give you a point of will pack for sleeping with people. But go ahead.
Yeah, shut up. But I'm trying to get a point here. The point is that your brain thinking about something actually creates an affinity for it. So if you're sitting there thinking about something all the time, unless you directly connect it to your anger centers, it usually just floats around in there and starts brushing off on other shit. Mm-hmm. And I love the human mind. It's fucking awful. It's like a dumpster fire. But it's actually a very lazy organ, which was what leads to all this bullshit happening. And J.J. Abrams takes advantage of that by constantly putting people on the bait. Like, there's nothing in his movies but bait. And when it comes time for you to
not
actually...
just his movies, his shows too.
What?
His shows too.
I watch Lost, but from what people say about it, smoke monsters, shaky bushes, yeah, epileptic trees.
Yeah.
But I understand
Lost has no ending, basically.
Their rage and frustration all too well. Trust me, I am an avid hater of the mystery box.
Yeah.
But for him to walk in there as a World War II fighter pilot and see this broken down advanced civilization is interesting. But then my brain goes, he went through a portal. Why would he speak the language of shit in a portal? And I could say it's a fucking splintered Earth. He's still in America. For some odd reason, they still developed English, but for some odd reason, they encountered Pokemon back when Christ was around, and some odd reason, it didn't create divergencies in the English language that formed in the fucking 12th century.
Yes.
Yeah, that wouldn't fucking happen. It's... Or at least how to train and use them back in the primitive age. Guess what? You have a fucking tank in the fucking time of the Hittites in 900 AD. You're sitting there being like, oh, I'm Charlemagne. I have even a basic fucking Pokemon will destroy the world. I have an Aegis Slash. Guess what? I could just send that thing in there. It moves at the speed of a fucking bullet, and it just chops everybody in half. It kills like 500 guys going in a straight line. And it just comes back because it's a fucking ghost knife. That's what it is. It's ghost and knife. And those things connected together is death. And that's just something that is not an emitter. This is a thing that does actions that can't really run away. I think it has like a few emitting attacks. But if it's fucking Pikachu, if you get shot by 10,000 volts, you die. You just die. You don't be like, oh man, I'm all singy and on the ground. Oh, that sucks. I'm paralyzed. No, you fucking either die or you get nerve damage. This is what happens when you get struck by lightning. You get a horrifying
it's the amps that kill you, not the volts, but go ahead.
And you have some fucking, true. I should have used amps or watts or some shit. I can't.
I know what you mean. But it's...
No one knows what I mean. I don't even know what I mean. Okay. But the listeners finally get to hear me out of a DM situation where I'm like yelling at you guys to fucking focus, and now I can't focus. But no,
Well, you see, if I may interject for a moment about
can
this
interject,
particular topic. So, like, that's the reason why a lot of times people just forget about the fact of the matter is that we have language. Language is a thing. In science fiction, like in Star Trek, they all speak English, and there's a reason for it. There's an explanation for it.
Universal translator, fucking lame.
Exactly. But it's the type of thing where people forget. People forget, like, that language is a thing, and it is a barrier. And a lot of times in role-playing games, people just don't bring it up. I've done a lot of games where people...
Oh, dude, I intentionally bring it up.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm playing a wizard in fucking Pathfinder, I get fucking 11 in language skills, so I can learn every language.
Yeah. And which is good. But, yeah...
Start talking shit to goblins.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've done a lot of things where it's like where we've had a thing where fantasy characters have encountered modern day Earth characters, and they just speak the same language because people just forget. And it's like, and the fact of the matter is, it's like, how are you speaking the same language? And I remember one of the I don't think you ever met him, but one of Jason's friends, Anthony, Jason and Robin's friends, Anthony. Was like, I think the thing he always used to use was like, oh, the portal's magic, and so you speak English now. And I was like, and I always felt that was kind of dumb because it's like it doesn't.
Portaled into my Bohr's region of my brain and taught it the fucking local dialect. That's an awesome portal.
Yeah, and it's like that breaks the universe. What you're doing right now with the Pokemon game is doing hard science fiction, where it's like, no, you wouldn't speak the language of this, so that's something you got to get through. And so that's cool to me. That's cool.
If you ever play Gamma World, it's a hard sci-fi game.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play Gamma World. I've never actually
Super
done it.
Tech, you work with Super Tech, you can destroy it really easily. And it sucks. Like, so many times we've been trying to get, like, you know, a hover car, and we destroy it. We try to turn it on, flies 200 feet in the air, crashes. We probably have a party member die or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. We blow it the fuck up by over-revving it or some crap. Like, Super Tech is a pain in the ass. Like, that was one of the weird things. It's like, one day, there's this this anime movie I watched on Netflix. I think it was called Stain, or some weird shit. It was like a monosyllabic word. Anyhow, so the issue that arises is that humans, if they get detached from the technology, never figure out how to fucking work it.
Yeah. So you're worried that's the situation I'm in, where it's like, I'm dealing with this alien technology, and it may take me forever to actually figure out how to use it, essentially.
Yeah, your character could be living like a caveman, surrounded by the most advanced medical technology, food replicators, and so forth.
But if I can't figure it out, I'm not going to be able to use it, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you were teleported on the Star Trek Enterprise. And you didn't know you could talk to it.
You know what it literally is? It literally is 2001. It literally is the apes and the monolith. They don't know what they're in the presence of. You know, they don't understand it. It's, you know, I think again the monolith is implied that it's basically what's causing them to start to think and reason. But
yeah,
you know, it's you know, but yeah, it's the same type of thing. It's like they don't know what they're looking at, and it's like, yeah. I mean, well, I'm enjoying it because it's like I do like the survival aspect of it, because I feel like you had to kind of do this with me for Pokemon, because again, I've never been a fan of Pokemon. It's like, so just being the whole, I'm a kid with being a Pokemon, no, I need to play some other character.
We release 10-year-olds with fucking bazookas into the wild.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, you gotta like, I'm willing to get there. It's like, I want the final product to be like, yeah, I can use Pokemon, but it's like, I gotta start off as something else or someone
Actually,
else.
This brings me back to the story that got me thinking about doing a Pokemon campaign. It's called The Origin of Species.
Okay.
And they have a very, very socialist society. And people can say what they want about socialism, but the reason why it's so socialistic is because Pokemon would wipe out humanity in a week if we all turned on each other. And it was crazy, because like every time they encounter a renegade, which is a person that uses their Pokemon to kill or doesn't help when there's a big situation going on,
which is something that I would actually make me watch the Pokemon show or play the game if it was actually in.
They execute that person though inside of this book.
Yeah.
They killed them off, so it means that, like, you know, you have a less and less, I'd say, selfish society if they get killed off before they can give their genes away.
Well, yeah, they're like, this needs to be eliminated because it's just too dangerous. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like I want to say in the creation of Pokemon as a game franchise or as a franchise in general, people don't think about this stuff because it's just like it's kind of meant for kids. It's just for fun. Like, wouldn't this be cool if you could like train a dragon? But when you hit adulthood and you're like, yeah, but how would this actually work? It's like you kind of need something more. It's like the science fiction fan, the storytelling speculative fiction fan in me needs a little bit more. And so that's what I appreciate here is that, and I do like that the fact that we're kind of going Kong Skull Island. I was actually thinking what we could do is like we could do like a time skip, and I just am Patsy Riley from Kong Skull Island, and it's just like I now speak the Pokemon language because I've just been living here.
Oh, you want to be C. Riley guy?
yeah. It's like oh, I finally figured it out. I speak your language, and it's like and I like and I'm just scary and.
We might have to do that.
What's that?
Just for the brevity inside of that game and getting it back on track. That was a good point. I forget the power of the time skip.
It's an idea. I mean, my next plan of action is really just to wake up and start using my MREs because right now I'm still like in survival mode. To me, it's kind of fun because this is kind of like to me right now this is like a survival horror game, or not even a survival horror, but like Dino Crisis or something like that. Where
my actual other inspiration was playing a lot of Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
And in that game, they're like literally endangered all the time by these giant creatures that cause fucking natural catastrophes.
Yeah. Yeah, like right now I'm playing the Pokemon game kind of like Jurassic Park. It's like I don't know where I am. I'm surrounded by monsters, but they're not necessarily like zombies or demons or something like that want me dead. They're just wild animals. And I'm trying to make sense of where I'm at because I'm very much like have no clue where I am right now, and I'm just trying to piece together what's going on. So it's like my plan was really when he wakes up is just find water, make use of my MREs, and then get right back to the computers and see if I can make some more sense of it. I was thinking about like when I got experience points of like dipping them in academics and taking specialties as languages.
See, the problem is that you encounter with that.
Yeah.
Is like, how would you train it? You have access to the languages, but like knowing the difference in all sorts of languages is very subtle.
Yeah. Well, I figured like maybe if I keep watching videos, I might eventually like figure out like.
I'll give you something. I've been watching anime since I was a wee young weeb, and in the time of fucking. Evangelion's prime, and Akira finally hitting the U.S. and all that shit. And I have not learned much Japanese. And if you think osmosis will do it, it will not. It takes study.
Yeah. I don't know. He was gonna try. I figured like that's what I need to do. Or what I was kind of hoping is like if we could get Oxenius to play this game, which again he has not shown any interest in it. It was like that'd be great because he would probably play someone from the world. And like what I was gonna do when running into him was just show him like my identification papers and try to like do sign language, and it's like, can you get me back to America? And it's like, and then eventually like we would probably through talking with him I would probably learn the language. So that was another idea I had. So, but who knows? Do you not want to play Pokemon though? Do you want to like you sounded like you didn't really want to play it tonight though?
I'm a little dry on the imaginative juices for that right now.
Okay.
It's mostly because I was inundating myself with fucking reading that fanfic. I went through like 60 chapters in a month, and it's a long-ass fanfic.
Okay.
Guy's been writing it since like fucking Gen 3.
Okay, well, well, all right, so the other option would be to try something new, and I kind of want to run a Buffy game.
A Buffy game?
Yes, because I have 3 of the books. I have the Buffy the Vampire Slayer core rulebook, I have the Angel core rulebook, and I have the Monster Smackdown, which has some of the more monsters. And I think there's other books, too, which I don't have. I don't have everything, but...
Well, the great mystery is convincing me to run a Buffy game.
We could do that, too. I mean, like, you could, like... I could just throw it at you, and it's like...
You yourself. You want a DM.
Well, yeah. I mean, my preference would be to play, because I'd rather play than run it, but, I mean... This is one of those situations where it's like, all right, we don't want to play without Xenius.
I want it so bad that I will DM.
That's exactly what happens. And I might make a character to run around with you, which you're not supposed to do when you DM, but I do it all the time anyway because I just want to play. The only thing I'm running into, because I was kind of farting around with it earlier, was like I got the character creating down. I'm not 100% clear on the system. The system is the Uni system.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I think what it does it's like specific to the Buffy game. It seems like it's kind of like World of Darkness, but I think it's dependent on D10s. But I think everything you build up in that basically adds to your D10, and like your goal is just like you roll a D10 and you want to roll. If you hit like a 10 or 11, you have like one success, and anything you get higher than that, every two higher than you get multiple successes. I think that's how it works.
Close to the Savage World system.
It might be, yeah. It's a similar type of game where it's just like there's no classes. You can build a character any way you want, and it just and as a result the skies are the limit. And it would help if you knew the show like I did. Like that's part of the reason why I'm like because it's like I could do this and I could do that. And I like again I'm like having O face because I'm a fan of the Buffyverse. But it's the same type of thing I like about like with Savage Worlds or anything that doesn't have a class that's a classless system where it's just like you could build the characters any way you want, and it's like a lot of stuff I'm getting into now is like that. Like Marvel's like that, World of Darkness is honestly like that, Savage Worlds is like that. It's So I mean, I was wondering if you wanted to like run something like that. I could not sure how to like. I can tell you how to build the character. And, like, if you want, we could stop the recording now and just, like, build characters. Like, and not necessarily play, but get ready to play, if you're interested. And it's like, you could play, you can make up an original character. You can play characters from the show. And you can also, you can make archetypes. Like, the closest thing they have to, like a class would be archetypes, where it's like, okay, you're, this is like, you're the new Slayer, or you're like a martial artist.
Involving this, really? Like, because, I mean, I'll admit I'm like the worst person to ask to do this stuff because I'm like flaky as fuck to begin with.
Yeah.
Thanks how you say it so quickly. You're like, oh yeah, this guy's flaky as fuck.
Oh yeah, of course you do. I know you. That's the thing.
Yeah, you do know me.
Yeah.
But the only issue I have is like my lack of knowledge of the Buffyverse is apparent. I mean, you've gone into long detail about why it's not crap, and I'm always like, okay. But so I guess my real question is like, what is the goal inside of this sort of game? Is it just going to be like story driven, where it's like, oh yeah, this is the Slay of the Week?
It's story driven. I mean, like they're kind of the premise behind the Uni system is they treat it like it's an episode of a TV show specifically. So it's kind of like the Dungeon Master is the director, and say it again.
Are you trying to keep it down to like 30-minute blocks? No.
No.
45 minutes.
But like, I mean, I've never had that problem, which is not a good thing. But but like, it's supposed to be story driven, but there is an action focus. So like one thing I do like, which is kind of fun for me. So it's like, so it's like you can solve a problem with skills and whatnot, but at the same time, like everybody has combat maneuvers, which are effective or not effective depending on
my problems away.
What's that?
I can punch my problems away.
Yeah, but if you have a crappy strength or a crappy dexterity, it probably won't be a good idea for you. Like, it's I was farting around.
I already got it. I'm going to make Doug Marsden in this game.
You want to make Doug Marsden?
I'm going to play it how it was supposed to be played instead of this weird fucking cup business.
Let's just badmouth Xenius right now and just talk about Doug.
Talk shit for the entire time. He'll come back and be like, guys, do you... No, a little.
We love you. We really do. We seriously do. We fuck with you all the time.
Really big assholes if we're left alone. Like we'll end up talking shit about the Pope, but that ain't that hard at the moment with what they're doing. But
well, see, this new information you gave me about Doug is like I just can't. I want to talk to you about it, but I can't talk about it on here.
Like I said, like All right, so going back to DM
it's
stuff.
It's a good thing I don't know about that. Go ahead.
I got to tell the listener. We probably have one, and I'm going to tell them what's going on. So, as a DM, I like to have players have their own little like juicy story going on in the background, and so that it doesn't feel connected to the quest. Their character always has their own sort of like thing that they not that they just want to do, but like something to motivate them beyond. And Doug's character, he is like, "Oh, my sister's missing," and I'm like, "That sucks." Okay, and but obviously the way Absentius plays is for, I guess, comic relief at all periods and points in time. And for me, as a person who wants to get inside of their noodles and just fuck around with their brains, which everybody seems to think is atrocious. I don't know why.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, no, Eddie's just a dirty slut. But like, oh yeah, fuck with my brains, sir.
Stick it in my ass.
But, I feel like a real man. But no,
Oh, go ahead.
But yeah, the point that I am trying to create for these characters, or for my players at least, is that their character is more than just the current storyline they're in. Like, hopefully they'll get hooked onto it and try to give their character more thought, more reason for why they do what they do, instead of just being like, I am Punch Man, and I will call upon Jesus if I can't punch it.
He is Bible Man. He is Kirk Cameron's Bible Man, who's a superhero who has a sword and fights an evil mad scientist.
The other thing is, like, I'm a big fucking logical atheist, so I'm always sitting there being like, Jesus. Literally, just the fucking Jesus. Just being like, Jesus. Again, Jesus. Like, he's called on God, I think, 3 times now.
It's been 3 times, yeah. And he made a cross with his body. You gotta understand, he is a religious studies guy. So it's like...
In real life?
Yeah, that's what he's going to school for. So, you know.
Oh, that's a terrible degree. But, no, I'm talking about, like, for the job market. What do you do with that? Do you become a pastor? I think that's the only thing you have to do with religious studies.
I guess. I mean, he's a smart guy. I think he's better with computers than I am. He should really be going into, like, what I'm trying to go into. He should go into computer stuff. So I
don't know if you're going into computer stuff. That's like an Amish guy going into computer stuff.
Fuck you. Just fuck off.
Yeah, you're the one that's a practical Luddite.
All right. You know what? Fine. I'm not too ashamed to. I'm willing to make fun of myself. I am Tobias Funke from Arrested Development. I'm secretly gay, and
that's true.
But like, basically, I'm the type of person, like, I can just tell, like, David Cross's character in that show is like, he's one of those characters, like, he's a psychologist. Why is he a psychologist? He goes. I think a lot of people become psychologists because they want to figure out why they are fucked up. And
I can tell.
I'm not slamming shrinks, but I think that is like a factor.
I'm about to get into this really fast.
Yeah.
Because I've been inside of several psychological courses. That's why I'm a weird fuck. Yeah. And like, the thing that I've encountered is there's 3 reasons why people get into psychology.
Yeah.
1 is potential good outright. The rest are pretty questionable. Yeah. So the reason why people get into psychology is they want to know, they want to help people. There's those people. There's actually good people out there that want to help other people get over their problems.
We are not dissing psychologists. For the record, internet, we are not dissing shrinks.
I am. I've had some weird shrinks tell me awful shit.
Yeah,
but the other reason why
there are some that are douchebags, but go ahead.
Is they want to know why they're fucked up. And this one can turn out okay, but usually people don't take that with a little bit of philosophy, and they end up ignoring why they're fucked up, and instead just, accept it.
Yeah.
And so they stay fucked up, and it continues on into their work, which is like 70% of psychologists. There's only like 15% that want to help.
Yeah.
The last
How can you help other people when you can't help yourself?
The last evil 15% is the ones that think everybody else is fucked up, and they want to figure out what's wrong with them. And so there's this quote that if you go throughout your day and you meet one person and they're a dick, they're probably an asshole. But if you go throughout the day, everybody you meet is a dick, you're probably the asshole. And
that's
it's
true.
That I keep close to heart, because that's sort of how I, go, am I an asshole today? Yes, I am. But no, just joking. The point of that though is that with these psychologists, they just stay in this asshole mode and just ruin it. They fucking mess up diagnoses. They fucking give patients weird fucking advice, like stupid fucking advice, because they're not clinical about it. They're emotionally compromised.
Yeah.
And that to me is just egregious. But
I brought up the psychology thing and the idea that basically people go into psychology because they want to be good at they want to know why they're fucked up. I think I want to go into cybersecurity because I want to fix all my computer problems. I want to be good at technology, so that's why I try.
Modems that you burned out are
no actual talent for the profession. I want to be good at this.
I mean, you'd be better off just taking one of those old people computer courses. And this is how you use Excel to draw up a spreadsheet so you could do your homework.
You young people. Young people are good for nothing.
We're good for fucking sorting out your router, apparently. But,
let's go back to making fun of Excendius, this fucking millennial. So
can't escape.
What is wrong with Doug? What's wrong with what? Well, here's again. I can't talk about it, but like stuff. The bombshell you dropped on me, we're not going to talk about.
I don't want to get out there that people think that I hate his character. His character is funny at times. That he does illogical shit, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. You can play how you want. Because I've seen him play Flutter Budgets, and I'm like, yeah, he likes to make a chuckle. And for me, there's only so much chuckles I have inside of me before the bile starts escaping. But nonetheless,
I think Flutter Budgets is his more serious character, though, because I think Flutter Budgets at least takes himself seriously.
Does he?
Yeah, sort of, yeah. Like Flutter Budgets, like really does think that he's a intelligent, like wizard, and he knows what he's doing. Like his motto is, "Dude, I'm a fucking wizard. I got this." But it's like the thing is, it's like at the end of the day, he's also like the worst guy. He's the worst guy to have save your world because it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. He just thinks he does. It's like
he does the wishes all the damn time.
If you can't wish his way out of a problem, he's fucked.
I'm a DM, and I have a lot of hesitation to let people just use wishes willy nilly.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that they end up trying wish. They started really, really getting specific with its wording.
Yeah, because they realize they have to be.
Because they're it can emulate any other spell, so it's just prep fucking wish all day long. Yeah. And it's like if you're a certain type of caster, you can do it for free. So hey, sexy free wishes.
He went Mythic Focus, and it's so he could just start I expend Mythic Power, cast Wish, and it was but it was funny because I think part of the problem was once he got to that level, it's he got lazy. Because he's it was interesting because back at Great Lakes he was my smartest player. He was the Tony Stark. He was Iron Man. He was the guy that no, we're gonna do this. We're gonna and Animal was just all right, man, I'm gonna follow your lead. And everybody else, even Carver was just I'm a big barbarian. I'm gonna walk through the bad guys because I'm that big and I'm that strong and I can do that. I'm just gonna stomp on them. And Porter was my fuck up. Porter was the guy who had never played before and almost broke the whole universe 7 times over. And then we all left Great Lakes. I went to Norfolk. Porter went to Norfolk. I'm like, hey, you want to finish my game? And Porter just somehow pulls it out. Porter he Guardians of the Galaxy did. He was the goofy idiot that shouldn't be fighting the big bad, and he's the one that saved the world. He saved everybody. He turned into freaking Pac-Man and just stopped ego and saved everybody. It was he just pulled it out of his ass. And then I started playing again with Oxenius, and it's they had brain switch. It's I'm stupid now, and it's he winds up destroying the world multiple times with his wish spells. Especially the 2 unreported sessions, which I wish were recorded, where he altered history and caused Cthulhu to rule the earth, and then stuck himself outside of time for 10,000 years and drove himself crazy. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful session. We should have recorded it.
Due to overzealous wizard players, as you start fucking with their brains.
Yeah. Well, it's again, one thing, and I think it's interesting that we were playing in Wormwick. We were playing in Lord Cat's world. Because it's interesting that Lord Cat's stance on wizards are they're nuts. All of his magical users are insane. It's because it's just the magic just drives them crazy after a while. And gods, they're no help either because gods are crazy. and people that are connected to the gods, they slowly go crazy too. Dothr is slowly losing his mind because, like, his Corellin Larthenen is apparently not the wise and beautiful and dignified elven god that we think he is in all the D&D books. No, he runs around naked and slaps his followers in the face with his cock, and that's apparently what he does. So it's just like, yeah.
Pretty elvish.
What?
That sounds pretty elvish.
Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, like I don't. We have to talk about Bible Man. So Bible Man, like, literally in the first, like, or like one of the Bible Man specials, he's like, okay, he's sword fighting like monsters or something like that. His enemy is an evil mad scientist because he believes in evolution, so he's the bad guy. And you know, and like when he's like the mad scientist guy defeated him, and there was nothing he can do, he just prayed to God, and God solves all of his problems for him. That's Bible Man's power. Bible Man's power is he prays to God, and God saves the day for him.
His power isn't that he just prays to God. His power is that he has a direct line. Because you got to think about all those people praying to God that God doesn't help. This guy, though, he's in like God's ear, and God's like, shit, he ain't gonna go away till I answer him.
He's like, fine, and it's just like, yeah, somehow praying to God stuck the mad scientist in a prison cell, where he's like howling in pain, like he's being raped in the ass, like right then.
What show is this?
This is Bible Man.
It's a real thing.
This is a real thing. Bible Man is a real thing. That's why I kept referencing it.
Who made this? Jack Trick?
No. Kirk Cameron.
Is it a joke?
From Charles in Charge.
That's real?
Yeah. Kirk Cameron from Charles in Charge got super religious, or he always was super religious apparently, and he is Bible Man. He is a religious superhero.
That's his character in this.
Yeah.
Show.
Yeah, Bible Man. It's like a kids Sunday school type show, and they have, I think, direct-to-DVD movies, and that's what they do.
What?
He goes on adventures, and
I heard the adventures part. They sound like religious adventures, which are subjugating other people to your beliefs. But anyhow,
the best ones I remember from Sunday school was there was McGee and Me, where which was religious, but it was like.
Wait, is this something else, or is this still in the Bible?
This is something else. I went to Sunday school a lot, and it's like there was McGee and Me, which
we all did at the time.
McGee and Me was a story about a kid who drew a cute little cartoon character that came to life and would talk to him. But every episode was about Jesus. Every episode was about Jesus, and it's like, okay, that doesn't explain the sentient cartoon character I created.
It's because Jesus brought it.
Yeah, it's never explained. And then there was another one where it was like, I think it was like Great Bible Stories. It was like the best one. It was like it was about these archaeologists. There's like these 4 archaeologists, and like one of them was like a kid who looked like Mati from Captain Planet, and they found some ancient Mesopotamian like temple, and in it they opened like a portal in time, and they got stuck in biblical times, and they would encounter great biblical stories in person. And
stoned immediately for like wearing 2 different types of cloth.
No, that never happened. Because
that would have
modern Christianity, so yeah.
Oh yeah, they got to make it sound like it wasn't a fucking way to control the hordes of people back in the day.
Yeah. So, but that was the best one because it was like an adventure show, but it was also like
a Greek story. It might involve Diogenes, who's like my favorite dude. But
that's Greek. We can't cover that.
It's all Greek to me. But no, the issue was like they're like talking about how they can't go on the mountain. Gods are on the mountain, and that's their mountain. And he's like, has anybody been up there to see? And it's like, no, the gods are on the mountain. You can't go up there. And he's like, because there's gods there? Yeah, that guy said there's gods there. Has anybody seen the god? I'm just thinking like, some guy has some crazy fuck shack up there. Like old school biblical fuck shack made out of mud and sticks with a thatched roof, and he's just fucking goats all day long.
And this ties into the H.P. Lovecraft story, The Outer Gods, where the priest of the Dreamland goes up to the mountain to see the gods. He wants to see the regular gods, but then he he gets separated from the younger priest, and he's like, no, the Outer Gods, and he never comes back, and he gets eaten by Azathoth.
Oh, I thought the Outer Gods were going to do some technically rape.
I'm sure they did. We just didn't see it. See,
that's my favorite thing about hentai.
Yeah.
Is like they had to work with what they had. So there's such extreme censorship laws in China or Japan. I'm sorry, not China. They don't make fucking. They probably do now. But they had such extreme censorship laws they couldn't show a dick. So they're like, man, we can show people getting fucked, even explicitly, but we can't show a dick.
Yeah.
What will we do? And lo, they accidentally created the entire tentacle fucking porn industry, like the entire subgenre that so many people hold near and dear to their heart.
I think you and I hold it near and dear to our hearts, sir.
I don't know about you, but I hold it quite dear. But
the Blue Girl's my first hentai.
Oh, that's tame. There's scenes like I remember sitting around watching the Blue Girl and being like, I saw something in that frame, and like I'd go back to the scene and there's just weird fucking shit hidden in the frames.
Yeah. Like
when there's an action scene, there's like this weird one frame thing, and I'm like, man, I've been playing too much 60 frames per second because I saw that. I'd roll it back and see it for like in clarity, and it's just like dumb, weird shit thrown in there, and I'm like, man, this is a fucking odd show. Like Saturday morning cartoons, but with sex in it.
Yeah, basically. No, like the girl who sold me on La Blue Girl was like, it's like Sailor Moon, but with fucking, and it was like, I'm sold. So
we already wanted that. We all went to SailorMoonX.com back in the day.
Yeah.
You remember everybody would say like, there's porn of it. You just got to put in like X at the end, or some shit way back in the early days of the internet. I remember trading around internet porn sites where you'd find one that was free, and you'd be like, "Oh, guys, I've just brought you fucking into carpal tunnel 10 years early." Like, I remember sitting there and like, I got caught one time passing a note to a friend who was like, "Yeah, what's the name of that site?" I'm like, "Oh, it's called this," and I fucking wrote it down and sent it to him. And the woman, the teacher, Miss Kilpatrick, I remember you well, and she was just like, "What is this? Why does it say nasty?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a site with violence. You know, us teens love violence."
That is the thing. The greatest hypocrisy of the United States is that like one of is that we're so tolerant of violence.
Well, no, it's because we're Puritans.
Yeah.
The Puritans came over and they're like, man, we will fucking cut people in half on a bandsaw if we think they're a witch, and then burn them, and do all this other crazy shit. But damn it, if I see a fucking titty up in here, we're gonna lose our shit. We're gonna fucking nuke this entire colony over that shit. And look, it just carried on over the years, hidden, until nowadays where people are like, man, tits aren't offensive, and some fucking geriatric pokes their head up like, somebody say tit.
Yeah.
Guys are going, and all of them are fucking like. You've dealt with older gents too, right? Where it's every fucking thing they try to do is a dirty joke.
Yeah.
I don't get what it is. Like, we don't sit here talking about how we're trying to fuck stuff all day long. But these guys do. And it drives me wild. Because I'm like, man, Richard, your dick hasn't worked in like 6 years. Why you tell me about it? Like, it's the most obnoxious, weird thing. Because, like, I work around a bunch of old dudes all the time. Because I'm at a, like... I'd like go to this restaurant for my job, and it's like a hospice for all these people in the nearby retirement community. Thank God for living in Florida, eh? But anyhow, what was that? Oh, it was into it. But the issue that I take with it is just like, why are they so vulgar and nasty now that they're old? And I know why. It's because they're finally free. They realize they're going to die soon, and they should live life how they wanted to instead of how they were told to.
Yeah.
I get it. But at the same time, it's just constant. Just like the guys there, they hit on the waitresses, and these girls are like all sorts of ages, but like some are as young as like 20.
Yeah.
And these fucking 80-year-old dudes are like trying to poach them, and God bless them for trying. But at the same time, they don't come up there being like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. I find you so fine. Why don't you come home with me?" No, they're just like trying to talk about their dick directly. Like this one guy was talking about his dick doesn't work, but his mouth does. And I'm just like, holy fuck. God damn it, Skip. I don't need to be hearing this from you. Nobody does. Except maybe an equally old lady named Gertrude or Ethel.
They don't want to fuck the ones that are their age, though. They want the young ones.
Everybody wants the young ones. That's like how life is. You're sitting there looking at your fucking hamburger, being like, "Oh, I want a fresh one."
Sarah Michelle Gellar's still looking fine though.
Who?
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, guys, that's why you're doing the Buffy thing. You got that old boy crush.
I've always had a crush on Sarah Michelle Gellar. That's
she's an attractive creature. I'll give her that.
What's that?
She's an attractive woman, but so is everybody else in Hollywood. That's like a staple of Hollywood. Like, for me to respect an actor, it's like John C. Reilly. They have to be ugly. And I wouldn't call John C. Reilly ugly, but compared to all the people in Hollywood, he is. Because nowadays it's like with cinema and
you can't be ugly in Hollywood anymore. You can't be Jackie Gleason anymore, which is ridiculous.
You can't be fucking like oh my god, how did I forget his name? Mr. Bugeye. He was in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Actually, I've never seen Reservoir Dogs.
Sandler movies. He's the guy. No, not Rob Schneider's character. The other guy.
I don't think I've ever actually seen Reservoir Dogs. I know a lot of the jokes.
Kids mean.
I need to see Reservoir Dogs. What the fuck is wrong with me? I love
You haven't seen Reservoir Dogs?
No,
I haven't seen it either.
What's that?
With Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi, yeah.
Steve Buscemi would not win an Oscar in today's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Even if we put out The Godfather tomorrow, which I think is what he was in and what he won it for.
Okay.
Like, let me look up Steve Buscemi's his prestigious career.
Well, while you're doing
There's
that,
pictures of him when he's young.
While you're doing that, if we're playing a Buffy RPG, what would you like to play? Would you want to make an original character? You want to play something from the show, or do you want to be?
He looked like Barney Fife when he was young.
Barney Fife was a fat fuck, if I recall. Right? No, wait.
I'm talking about Barney Fife from fucking Andy Griffith's show.
Barney Fife wasn't fat. No, Barney. No, Steve Buscemi does look like Barney Fife. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He might have been in The Good Guys. Gosh.
Andy?
All right, so Boardwalk Empire, 2 nominations for an Emmy Award. Gosh, but yeah, he is a great actor too. He's a really great actor, and so is like Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And yeah, Willem Dafoe is an amazing actor. I watched some like net video he did, and it was just wonderful. He was a robot.
Yeah.
And his owner died of old age, and it was about the disposability of people to other people.
Yeah.
But it was just a little clever movie. It was the Jameson movies, if I recall correctly, and they're really good. But yeah, it's odd. Jameson puts out little fucking humanitarian movies that make you feel something. You're like, but I thought you make booze. And they're like, yeah, but why would you drink booze unless you have a reason to be sad?
Mm-hmm.
Like, good choice. Why do I have to keep turning up the volume? Why are you so stupid? Sorry, I'm sitting here playing solitaire because I'm fucking ADD. But anyhow, in modern Hollywood, it's just all these hot people, and I'm just like, that's nice. I do like looking at hot people. I do approve of like sexy women and stuff like that. I seem to have a penis, and it works.
Yeah.
But it's just driving me batshit crazy that it's just like Jonah Hill has to go on these fucking insane diets left and right because they're like, oh, is Jonah Hill going to be fat this year? It's like, I don't know. We don't need to be a fat guy this year.
He started off as a fat actor. He shouldn't be an issue.
What?
He started off as a fat actor. He shouldn't have to. Yeah, he shouldn't have to fucking like change anything.
Oh, you remember the Titans? Wow, odd thing to say. But you remember that show?
Go ahead. Refresh my memory.
Remember the Titans is about desegregation of a school, and there's a black group moving, or there's a white school with this amazing football team, yada yada yada, and the black team, it's from 2000, but the black team is gonna, they're desegregating, so now they're the only desegregated school against all these other pure white schools, and yada yada yada. Well, in it, there's a fat guy, a really fat guy. He was also in Evolution. Did you see Evolution?
The movie called Evolution?
Yeah.
No.
The movie Evolution has David Duchovny in it. You should watch it.
Okay.
But anyhow, the actor in it that I am trying to find is his neighbor, or not neighbor in Evolution. It's this student in his class who's like a weird fuck up, and it's glorious. But he's the same fat guy. But he used to be really fat inside of this. Where are you at? He was also in My Name Is Earl.
Yeah.
Trying to remember the name of the actor. It's killing me that I can't find him. And I don't want to just say the fat guy, because he's not the fat guy anymore. He lost a shit ton of weight, and he was already huge. This guy was like 6'5".
Okay.
He's already huge. Ethan Suplee.
That sounds a little familiar.
Ethan Suplee.
Okay.
But yeah, he used to be hugely fat. If you look up like Ethan Suplee in Remember the Titans, I'm going to send you a picture. He was just this really big fat guy, and now he's just a normal looking dude. And I don't see him in enough roles. It drives me crazy. Because he's a good actor. Like, he plays this kind of like fat-tongued, weird guy. There we go. I'm just going to grab this image and send it to you, because I'm on a computer and it makes life easy.
Okay, cool.
There we go. That's Ethan Suplee. And let's look at Ethan Suplee now. Oh, there's a picture comparing that picture with the current picture. Never mind. I sent you the wrong image, apparently. Yes, upload. But you see, he shed another person. And he's a good actor, but like, there's just all these people that start off as fat actors and never go anywhere. I remember the other day I saw the kid from Fat Camp, or Heavyweights is what it was called.
Now, who's this actor?
Seeing stuff. He was in a lot of stuff. He was also in The Sandlot.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that's like, you play like a girl. Oh, the redheaded fat kid.
Okay.
He was also in the Big Green. Yeah, he was in a commercial with like Geico or something like that, and he had lost a lot of weight. And I was just like, that's that fucking guy from the 90s that I never saw again because he's ugly and fat.
Yeah.
And it's like you have all these great actors that are untapped anymore and just sitting there. Like when I saw today a picture of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and the other guy playing Spider-Man.
The new guy.
Yeah, the new guy. He's a cool kid.
Josh Holland, I think his name was Tom Holland.
Oh, yeah, okay. But I saw them all together, and it's like, fucking poor Tobey Maguire standing in that picture was all I could think, because he looked miserable. It looked like a person that went from like being on top of the world to fucking underneath everybody's foot. Like, it was just sad. And I haven't seen him in anything. Have you?
Well, he was in Boss Baby.
That was it?
He was the kid in Boss Baby. That's the most recent thing I've seen he did. Okay, I'm putting the picture. I'm putting the picture up on here that you sent me. So like, yeah, okay. So, and again, who is this actor?
That is Ethan Suplee.
Ethan Suplee. It's like two different people.
Yeah.
He was huge and he's lost. I gotta say, though, I gotta say, I agree with you. I don't think we should discriminate. If you're a talented actor, we should hire you no matter what. But at the same time, I mean, from a health standpoint,
Steve Buscemi was in Boss Baby too.
He was.
He was Francis.
Oh God.
The bad baby that grew up.
Oh God, Steve Buscemi, why? Why?
Because Steve Buscemi needs work too.
Yeah.
He's fucking this prestigious fucking actor who just happens to not be attracted by modern standards.
Mm-hmm.
And this sounds like one of those stupid incel arguments where like appearance is everything. No, I'm not caring if you don't get fucked because you're ugly. That's just life. But my issue is that you have these really great actors that are falling into obscurity and just off the chain. And not off the chain, off the totem of Hollywood's fucking bullshit. And at the same time, I'm like, that's just how these things work. It's the picture industry. You got to look good for the camera and all that other bullshit. But at the same time, like, it's bled into music. Like, first it hit Hollywood. Like, somewhere around 2000, we had this great purge of ugly actors. Like, you can see it. Like, all these ugly people left in 2005. They just stopped getting roles, unless they were friends with Adam Sandler. And it drives me nuts. Because the same problem that I have with that, it happened to music not shortly after, where they're like, hey, we have auto-tune. And now music sucks.
Yeah, now you don't have to have any talent. I stopped listening. I have not listened to any modern music. I have not listened to music for like 9 months.
People I listen to, there's still people out there that fucking, rock. I'm really sad that Avicii died and all that other shit. But, like, for me, it was just obnoxious that it's become, like... Have you seen Ariana Grande?
Yeah, I actually like her.
Yeah, she can sing, even though she's a bit weird in other fucking ways. Yeah. And she's stupidly attractive.
Yeah, she's really hot.
She's all of, like, 4 foot tall, too. She's like a midget.
Yeah.
And it's like they can't get everything, but what they can...
I'd fuck the shit out of that midget. I really would.
Anyhow.
Love me harder. I want to.
It's like this, make the steak look bigger. But, I love that phrase. But,
like,
no, it's...
Like, the worst I've heard about... there's also one video she's in where she's, like, in a sci-fi thing that's going on. I really like that video. That's you put aliens in there, I'm always happy. I heard, like, with her, like, the complaint on her is she's kind of bitchy, but whatever.
I don't care about those things. Like, she can sing at least. But have you ever seen the Dexy Midnight Runners?
No.
They are?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Or repeat you said?
Dexy Midnight Runners.
No.
They are the people that sang Come On Eileen.
Oh, yeah. No, I have heard of them.
That's a song from, like, the early 80s or somewhere around there.
Come on, Eileen. I actually know that. I know the information on that song. They're a one-hit wonder, though. That's the thing.
They're like, ugly as butts. Like, they're all hideous dudes. They got big foreheads.
Well, they are English.
So
Hi-oh!
Have English people typing in angrily now? How dare you fucking talk? English people are ugly. I'm gonna go back and fuck my goat. Alright, that's not my goat. That's my wife. Know the difference. Nah, I'm joking.
I'm friends with English people. I got no right to fucking talk any shit.
I don't. It's not. It's like it drives me nuts that music has gone great big fucking. We don't care. Music is a fucking sound. It's a fucking sound. It's for your ears and your brain, and yet we have to put the hottest fucking thing in front of you for you to fucking listen to it these days.
Yeah. And it's that's the fact of the matter. Like, well, I remember who's the girl that won American Idol or that one?
Ben Boyle.
Yeah. That's
what everybody wants to go to defend the fact that music's not hideous.
Well, no. My point. I'm not trying to defend.
That syndicates music to let's get a bunch of people together to decide whether or not we could do anything.
I'm not trying to defend it. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to use that example to prove your point that it's like, yeah, I haven't heard anything about Sarah Boyle in a long time, but there you go. Sarah Boyle's an older, frumpy English woman, but she's got an amazing voice and she can sing a hell lot better than Katy Perry can.
Yeah,
Queen of Autotune herself.
Katy Perry is silliness nowadays. She was just around. She's a flash in the pan because she's just tits.
Well, all right. Well, and I feel like she has totally lost the war with Taylor Swift. I personally feel like
the war. There was a war.
Yeah, there was. They don't like each other anymore, and they were.
I don't even know what war is anymore.
Okay. Well, all right. From
no, I'm just giving you. I'm giving you guff because I hear people throw that around on a bunch. Like, is it a war? Is it really?
It's not. It's not. No one died. There's no. Yeah. No, I know. I'm a vet. I shouldn't say things like this.
I want there to be bloodshed. Like, I would rather it be like Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls getting gunned down in the street than just these nasty upper-class bitches sitting there talking shit to each other on records that children buy.
Well, don't get ahead of me.
About the kids.
You ruined the entire story I was going to tell you.
Oh.
That's basically.
Did I predict it?
Yeah. No, well, I'm reminded of George Carlin. How Carlin? I've been listening to a ton of Carlin lately, and it's like Carlin. Yeah, Carlin loved to just kind of sit and watch humanity fall apart. And it was like he's the exact person who would advocate. You know what we need? More rappers shooting each other. It's like,
no. This is
Taylor Swift to actually just beat the shit.
I've been watching a lot of Bill Burr actually, and he's also like, we need to kill everyone. And I'm like, that doesn't sound too bad. How can we start doing that? But no,
it's fine
people
to say it at
are
least.
happy when you talk about murder.
But no, yeah. Well, we have as living, to quote Carlin once again, as living beings, we have a bias. we are live, so we don't want to. Yeah, it's a biased argument. It's like the dead don't give a shit.
Thanos, his problem is that he killed everybody in the now. He has the time stone. Okay, he can go back 50 years and kill everybody 50 years ago, and no one would really care except for like old people. They'd be sitting around being like, "Remember that time Thanos killed everyone? Yeah, that fucking sucked." Everybody who's young nowadays is about the fucking never forget shit that we have all the time. Never forget the fucking Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
and we totally fucking forgot that.
Never forget Infinity War.
Never forget Infinity War.
See, but you wouldn't. He
also would have to deal with any of these cocksuckers. You gotta admit, all these people came around at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Like, it's too perfect. Like, the one above all has to appear and start talking to him, being like, "Listen, I've been having y'all in the cahoots for a while now. You have to ask yourself if there's a reason why all these superpowered individuals just suddenly started appearing now."
We talking about Avengers now?
I'm talking about... I can get into Marvel hardcore if you...
all right.
Do you want it? You want the Marvel dose?
Of course I do. Who do you think you're talking to here?
Put it on your face, Eddie? Your face or your chest? No, anyhow.
I want it in my mouth. I want to swallow it.
Okay. God, Eddie, you know how to talk dirty to me. All right, lady. Anyhow, oh, you tawdry little slut. Anyhow, so Marvel has had all these doomsday apocalypse-like shit just start crapping out somewhere around World War II. And all I could think is like, man, they're lucky there's superheroes around every now and again. And it's like, I love superhero movies. This isn't a complaint about them. This to me is being like a DM in the background of another person's story. Being like, why aren't they using that? Why aren't they talking about that? Why isn't this coming up? Instead, it's just like, man, the world was never in danger from anything except like 10,000 years ago, according to the Guardian that recently died. And, like, just saying, like, why? Like, is that magical net? That's what saved everybody? And then technology running rampant caused the rest of it? No. There's fucking space. There'd be shit going on with space all the time. That's probably what's going to happen with Miss Marvel, where they're like, oh yeah, we knew about aliens since like 1903, when this lady got struck by a meteor filled with alien technology. Like, I'm really curious about the Miss Marvel thing at the end of the day, where I'm like, oh, how are they going to fucking make her so awesome? And why did they keep her on the back burner?
Well, and that's the thing. That's the point where I'm kind of like nervous, because they're doing great. They're like Marvel's doing fine. And
I
like
your SJW fear. I do.
Yeah, that's really what it boils down to. And that's the thing. I think that's the one like Marvel movie they haven't shown the trailer of yet. It was like I had a feeling like, and
I don't think it's going to be a trailer. I think it's just going to go directly into it.
Well, and the thing is, it's like
the part of Infinity War.
Like in terms of like, let's not talk about the SJW stuff for a minute, but let's talk about like just like how they're going to implement her. I think like so other Josh like talked about this, and he was like, and I think he was referencing Daniel Baxter, who is the How It Should Have Ended guy, and that guy is like weirdly prophetic in his videos about like how like how certain movies are going to turn out. And also, like, he's also gotten some notoriety, and it's like, no, like, sometimes his videos are like, that is how it should have ended. Like, the how it should have ended The Last Jedi is like, people like me are like, yeah, that's canon. That's the version of the movie I choose to count as canon. It's like,
I don't know what his ending is for that.
Did you see it?
No. So I just said I don't know what it is.
Well, basically, he just fixed everything that sucked about the movie. And, like, the ending was Luke got off his ass, went to Crate with Rey, and they faced down Kylo Ren, and they basically just stood there and like stood in front of the Imperial Walkers, and like when the Imperial Walkers started shooting them, they started reflecting the beams back at them and blew the fuck out of all of them. It's like they actually went down. They stood there fighting and badass, and then Ghost Yoda shows up while Kylo Ren's pitching a fit on his little shuttle, and he just calls lightning on the thing and blows it up. And then Luke's like, "What is it with you and lightning?" And like Yoda just starts laughing. And it's like, you know what? That's better than what Rian Johnson made.
Yeah, that sounds better.
He still has him like sucking that weird like monster titty milk though. It's like what is it with you and that freaking thing? It's like, I love you, I miss you the most of all. One for the road. He's still drinking the nasty semen milk.
Hey now.
Anyway,
it's filled with calcium.
I brought this up for a reason. Okay, tangents. The thing is, he kind of predicted that, they had an episode talking about Thanos, about, where the villains in the villains bar started talking about who they think's going to die. And Palpatine started talking about how he thinks that, Ant-Man's going to go subatomic. He's going to get in some weird kind of space-time thing, and he's going to find Miss Marvel, and they're going to come out and save the day. And that's, probably the best prediction that's out there right now, which is that...
So, why would she be subatomic?
She wouldn't be. Her story's supposed to take place in the 80s.
Yeah.
So she's basically, I think what's going to happen is he's going to wind up going back in time to meet her and, pull her to the future.
But, Ant-Man the movie happened, and then the end scenes, the Thanos shit happened, and when the Thanos shit happened... You're
talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
At the end...
Spoiler alert, people!
Yeah, spoilers for everybody. I don't give a fuck. At the end of Infinity War, though, is when Nick Fury is like, I'm going to call this bitch. Because I feel the disappear is coming on. I love how people can feel the disappear coming on. Yeah. And they're like, oh, Mr. Stark, it hurts, or whatever the shit. Yeah. And everybody's like, just okay with that. But other people are just like, poof, I'm fucking gone. I'm a much more important character than that character. But we're going to fucking keep it around for cinematic purposes. Yeah. And it's like, yes, I can see your transparency all too clearly, movie.
I think we should talk about Deadpool 2 spoilers instead, because Oxenius hasn't seen that yet, so he'll watch this video and he'll get mad. So,
no, I don't need to be pissing off people for no reason.
So I really fucking hate that fat
spoilers kid. Just because they're great.
I hate that fat kid so much because I figured out who that fat kid is. That fat kid is a character from the comics. He's Rusty Collins. And I've always hated Rusty Collins. No wonder I hated this character.
What? Who is Rusty Collins?
Rusty Collins is a mutant kid who was part of the New Mutants. He was he had fire abilities. He did call himself Fire Fist. And he was kind of a whiny little bitch. But he was an old character back from the day. So, yeah, and that's basically the kid, the little Kiwi actor who played him did a good job because it was you were really annoying and obnoxious. And it was bravo, I guess. So, my problem with that Deadpool 2, I really like Deadpool 2, but I feel like it has problems, and my biggest issue is it needed a better villain. It's obviously Apocalypse, but they shot themselves in the foot with that in X-Men Apocalypse.
Deadpool doesn't need Apocalypse. Deadpool it's urgent, but it's not serious enough to call anybody else.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that they have Cable there. And if you've got Cable in the mix, the villain should be Apocalypse.
No, if you have Cable in the mix, you should have fucking X-Men.
As your villain?
Deadpool and Cable. Cable is technically the villain for most of them.
Halfway through, but then they team up. Because they wanted to do the Cable and Deadpool thing.
Because of team-up power!
Yeah, but here's the thing. Deadpool 2 is basically an adaptation of Cable and Deadpool, the comic. And where they're kind of working together and kind of doing crimes together, sort of, kind of. I could get into at length at Cable and Deadpool, what's wrong with that book as well. But yeah, the problem is Cable's enemy, his greatest nemesis, is Apocalypse. That's the entire point of his story, is that he comes from a shitty future where Apocalypse rules the Earth.
You are right, they did shoot themselves in the foot because Apocalypse didn't end up being their Thanos, essentially. Thanos is the third boss of a trilogy of movies that are the culmination of different stories for each character,
right,
which usually have their own trilogy of movies.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be, but they fucked up with him. It's I still like X-Men Legends for what X-Men
because
Legends.
First Class was the reboot, and it was having a hard time getting gusts, and also because the background negotiations going on.
Yeah.
You realize that merger between Fox and Disney was in the works for probably close to a decade.
Yeah, I've been talking to you about this for the longest time, and if I recall, about a decade ago, someone who I may be in a conversation with right now was all like, oh no, it's never going to happen. They're never going to get the X-Men back. And I told you then that it's going to happen. And I was right, so where's my beer? Where's my fucking beer?
Alright, so first you need to make it where Disney pays people more, so that everybody can start affording those beers.
That has nothing to do with you and me. You get your ass over here right now and you get me a beer.
Oh.
Right now. Do it.
Get yourself a beer, Shelley.
Fuck you. Get me a beer.
Anyhow, my problem with it mostly back then was that the merger should have been not boycotted, but closed off to begin with, because of the fact that it is a massive merger between like the only remaining two media creators in America.
Yeah.
Like, that's a monopoly. It shouldn't happen. My idea was that they were going to get the IPs and essentially ransom them back to the companies for a lot more, where they're going to just run them into the ground over and over again, being like, well, you're just losing viewers because we're slowly destroying this IP.
Well, and truth be told, all I wanted was the X-Men and Spider-Man back. That's it. And maybe the Fantastic Four, because I'm an asshole.
All I wanted...
Fantastic Four back, yeah. And Deadpool 2. Deadpool I consider an X-Men.
I'll admit, I didn't know I wanted Deadpool till I saw it. Because it's been like the best one done. For what it is. Like, Deadpool obviously has a more limited budget. And that is the best thing for movies.
Yeah.
It has to be.
You're guaranteed to make a profit.
Them to be creative.
Yeah, well, again, like, Clerks 2. Like, they did, like, Clerks 2 for $5 million. And people wind up loving it, and it was a huge success. It's like, if you go, just have a reasonable budget and do a good job, and then when people come and see your movies in droves, you'll fucking make a nice profit. Yeah. It's crazy. Dude, Solo lost so much fucking money for Disney. So much money. They had like fucking Kathleen put like $120 million more for reshoots.
Yeah, but that's like a fart in Disney.
Yeah, but still, they lost a ton of fucking money for that movie. They just it's fucking insane.
Yeah, I had these fucking neoliberals up my ass shit about it. And they're like, no, you have to support it. And I'm like, the fuck I do. Like, my friend was like, you got to get out there and watch this movie. And I'm like, I don't want to watch a shitty movie for no reason whatsoever. Like, there's no point, like, unless there's robots and a guy in a silhouette in front of the screen, I'm not watching it. That's the only time I watch shitty movies, because Mystery Science Theater is the best thing.
Fuck yeah, Mystery Science Theater
2000. I hate with a passion people that are like, well, we won't get this, we don't do this. And I'm like, that's extortion. That's all that is. Like, Ubisoft, I think it was, extorted people for an extension to Wild Arms, I believe it was.
Yeah.
For if they bought Rain Man Legends.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, well, if we see enough people liking Rain Man Legends, we'll have enough money and revenue line.
Yeah.
Mess with Wild Arms.
Rain Man has never been that good of a series. I'm just fucking gonna say it.
They never fucking did it either.
Yeah.
Because they're just doing it to get money out of people and lying like Ubisoft does. And, I mean, I don't know how game companies manage to be so terrible. Like, it's really somewhere on top.
Because gamers are fucking stupid, and gamers fall for shit like that. Yeah, if we do this, they'll do that. And
well,
it's like, there's no accountability.
What you have is a bunch of kids. Like, gamers, they're not all kids, unfortunately. But enough of them are kids where kids can lead how the system works.
Yeah.
So what you get is you get a bunch of these motherfucking kids that don't know the value of a dollar and never will, because mommy and daddy will throw whatever money they want at them, and then they'll go to college and never have to ever think about a paycheck. Maybe unless they have a shitty life like we do now. Yeah. But nonetheless...
shitty life will help with that. Shitty life will make you kind of get off your ass.
Hopefully life will help with that. You gotta remember, there's plenty of people out there that are like 80 years old saying awful shit to waitresses because they never learned better. Because no one ever fucking, like, choked them to death with their own entrails.
Yeah, our country's being run by a guy like that right now.
Hey,
I'll be here all week, people. I'll be here all week.
But, yeah,
it's... jokes.
I know, it's
Grabbed
like...
by the pussy.
Should get on Reddit with that. But, I'm not lying. Reddit loves hating Trump, and I'm all for it. But at the same time, like, guys, you realize Trump is, like, the big fucking mask that this is wearing. Like, the actual problem is something else. They're like, no, just gonna be angry at Trump and not accomplish anything except bitching. And I'm like, oh, okay.
My personal feeling on Trump is, honestly, Trump is a temporary problem. It's like we're gonna get rid of him eventually one way or another. So, I mean, it's like the people are getting
to impeach him, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, I mean, like I think he's the closest we've ever seen a president coming to impeach. It's like, because, yeah, this guy's straight up a criminal. This guy is straight up just lying to people. And,
well, I mean,
and he's not good at hiding it because he's never had to before, or like never like been to like or just he's used to basically being able to get away with it scot free, and it's here. It's
yeah,
like
because his parents were fucking stupid rich, and he's got influenza.
yeah, and
Affluenza. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's like, and the thing is, it's like, meanwhile, he's pissing off people in his own party who are real conservatives, you know.
I'm just waiting for him to talk shit about McCain after he's dead.
Well, he already talked shit about him when he was alive.
No, being dead makes everybody have a halo.
Yeah.
So they don't talk shit about him anymore.
Well, actually, here's the thing. I would actually be more pissed off about him if he said something nice about McCain.
Well, no, what
where was that attitude? Where was that attitude towards him when he was alive?
McCain's a piece of shit. Okay, at the end of the day, veteran or not, he's shit. He took money from companies to fuck over his constituents for his own profit.
As a person who made 2 memorials to him, I disagree, sir.
I understand you disagree. I saw your memorial, but I don't care for because I remember him taking, I think, $200,000 from the fucking internet companies to kill net neutrality, which we're currently getting fucked by. So I don't care.
Well, I will say to that, I respectfully disagree, sir. However, I will also say, well, he is a Republican, so you know.
No, you can't just be like, oh, it's their nature to fuck us. Like, could you imagine if we had
listen?
Oh, mythological centaurs.
No,
centaurs rape people. That's just how it is. Centaurs rape people. So if you got out in the woods and raped mercilessly by fucking centaurs, I should just be like, that's how it is.
MALMODO, listen. You have to understand. There's a parable about this. I learned once when I was small.
Parable is the centaur rape.
No, it's better than that. See, a Republican and a fox once were walking together to a river, and they didn't know how to get across. So the Republican said, "Fox, I'll climb up on your back, and you can swim me across." And he's like, "No, I won't do that. You'll just sting me and take my retirement money away." And he's like, "No, I wouldn't do that."
The frog and the scorpion. You think I don't know this?
It's the only Star Trek Voyager episode I remember.
That's the Star Trek Voyager episode?
Yeah,
they ripped off
Scorpion. Yes, Scorpion. One of the best episodes of Voyager where...
it's the scorpion and the frog, okay?
Yeah.
Or the frog can swim across. Another one where it's like...
Chakotay's from a fictitious, like Native American tribe, so he thinks it's like a freaking fox. All right, he's from a non-existent Native American tribe. So in the non-existent Native American tribe, it's a fox, not a frog. So,
you know what? If they didn't, like, it just sounds so damn racist. They couldn't have come up with a different story, like different enough for you not to be like, hey, I've heard like, this was in that Book of Virtues or some shit. No, it's, oh god, it's so lazy.
It actually is pretty racist because the deal with him is, first of all, Robert Beltram, I believe, is Hispanic. He's not Native American at all. But I mean, nothing against him personally. He's
Hello?
From what I can. Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Hello.
Yeah, you clipped out for a second there,
yeah,
Robert.
I'm pulling up Facebook.
Who?
But yeah. But Robert Beltran himself he's Hispanic. He's not racist either though. He's a nice guy from what I know.
Can't be racist. He's not white.
Yeah. But the thing is though, his character was supposed to be a Native American, but they couldn't decide what tribe. So they basically hired this guy, which was supposed to be like a Native American consultant, where they got all their information on him about what to do to basically design Chakotay's fictitious tribe. So the problem with that is the guy that they were talking to was not a real Native American, and he was actually like a shyster. He was basically he was basically a con man who was pretending to be a Native American and has actually been like sued by like the Native American Council or something like that, something wild like that. It's really yeah. The guy was a massive piece of shit. So unfortunately, we his character had some of the worst moments in Star Trek Voyager was anytime Chakotay was talking about his people, where he was going on and on, I'm a Native American, get it? And but the problem was he was based off of like real racist ideas of being a Native American. Yeah, it was the worst episode is an episode called Tattoo, where I
think you've had this rant with me before. Tattoo sounds ominous.
Yeah, the episode Tattoo is about they go to this alien planet and they discover these aliens that they discover back during like prehistoric times they'd gone to Earth, and they really liked the Native Americans, so they gave the Native Americans like special powers. And like they instill with them like a sense of adventure and whatnot, and gave them some special powers to protect the land. It was supposed to be like a tribute to Native Americans, but as a result, all it wound up doing was it was basically saying, okay, what you're basically saying was like Native Americans were backwards, stupid savages until white men from the stars came down and made them special.
God damn it!
Yeah.
Fucking Star Wars Trek. How like I expect Orville has actually avoided a lot of these faux pas, which is kind of funny to me that the fucking show is actually not a fucking parody, and it's kind of a parody or a satire. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But like it's avoided these faux pas and had seemingly more depth at times in that series.
The problem with why I haven't been able to sit through any of the Orville. From what I've seen of it, it's like the problem with the Orville is it's like, okay, Seth MacFarlane genuinely loves Star Trek, which is cool. And
yeah.
He wants to play Star Trek. He wants to do something with his fame, and like I want to do a Star Trek show. The problem is
he also wants to fuck that really hot chick.
Okay. What really hot chick?
His girlfriend, who's like 20, while he's 46. Which, good for him.
Yeah,
he's got the money to pull it off.
I'm fine with that.
But he's an actress on it, and I'm sure her job and her vagina are attached to one another.
Yeah. That's a lot. There's some problems with that right off the bat.
Don't co-workers.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not necessarily.
What?
I'm not opposed to like a person.
Ordinance. How about that one?
I'm not opposed to someone acting with their kid, with their their significant other. I'm not opposed to that. It's like I can understand that level of nepotism, but it is nepotism, and that's the problem.
I got my fill of that with fucking Mila Jovovich. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Mila Jovovich. Okay. So look, all right. My problem is I understand acting with like someone you care about, like your husband or your wife. The problem is that when it's like blatantly obvious and when the person in question has no talent, that's where I draw the line. That's where I have problems.
This actress is okay. I'll give her that.
Yeah, so it's like I'm fine with that. In the case of the Orville, there's a couple problems. Part of the problem is that it's a comedy because it's Seth MacFarlane, so we have to do comedy. We can't just like if he wants to do a Star Trek show, we just can't just give him a Star Trek show because it's done very much like older episodes of Next Generation. So that's problem one. Problem two is and then the problem it's his style of humor, which is kind of played out now. So it's fart jokes.
No, it's not just that. Like, it's A Million Ways to Die in the Old West, or whatever it was called.
Which was terrible.
It was. And it's his sense of humor is pretty terrible. Like, on Family Guy, where he has to work with a bunch of other writers, I assume.
Yeah.
And follow, like, the other manatees, if you catch my drift. But, he has...
Referencing a funnier show, I see.
Yeah, I know, right? But, he has something to ground him with his comedy. I'll admit his comedy is puerile.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think it was funny back in the day. When he started off, he was fine. And then after a while, it's like all right, he's running out of steam. It became like just I noticed like his stuff is way too reference dependent.
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't have a reference, he's got nothing. And it just like there was a lot of stuff he used to do that was just really self-indulgent. Like I remember there's a lot of times like Family Guy would just devolve into like Stewie having like a dance off with like a classical like musical character, and it's just there's no jokes. We're just having him dance. It's like, why are we doing this? It's like because like Seth MacFarlane really super likes musicals. So that's what we're gonna do, and I had a problem with that, where it's like, There's no real reason for doing that. And it just things got really self-indulgent and just kind of not funny after a while. So it's like, and there's a channel I've been watching. I checked out was called like when that talks about like when shows die, or like when they died off, and it was like they brought up Family Guy. I've been out of Family Guy for so long. Apparently they killed off Brian for a minute.
Yeah,
and it was like, and that's like the feeling that's where Family Guy officially died, because it's like that was literally where Seth MacFarlane checked out of the show. It was like he was done like watching it. He was done producing it, like, and because Brian is basically his author avatar. It's basically who he is. So I mean, like I like Seth MacFarlane well enough, but at the same time I think he has limitations. I don't like, I'm kind of done with people like talking about him like he's the funniest person in the world. He's not. He has those limitations, and I feel like with the Orville, it's like he really just wants to do a Star Trek show, but it's like, oh, you're a comedian, so we have to do your style of humor. And so I can't really enjoy the Orville because of that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, all he's really doing in those episodes is like, and the problem is like the closest I've seen, I saw Red Letter Media cover this, and like Red Letter Media, it's like Mike Silvassa said it perfectly, because Mike's like, look, I can't watch the Orville because it's like in his head is a massive Star Trek encyclopedia. So he's watching all these episodes, he's trying to enjoy it, and he's like, this is like from this episode of Next Generation, and this is like this episode from Voyager, oh, this happened on Deep Space Nine, and it's like everything that's in that show that feels like classic Star Trek feels like it for a reason. It's photocopied. It's photocopied from Next Generation or the original series or other Star Trek series. So it's like, then meanwhile, you have the actual Star Trek show that we have right now.
One of the things I did feel about the show is I kept feeling like it's supposed to be a comedy, are supposed to be a parody, and hit me with those serious moments. And I'm just like, but they lacked the actual tangible like feeling of seriousness, where it's like, well, this led up to it, and the entire lead up was solemn. Everything was, quite serious throughout. It felt like there's an actual problem the entire time. So, it wouldn't be appropriate to have somebody shit their pants or have their leg cut off by a robot that was trying to make a practical joke. Mm-hmm. Like, it does detract from itself by being a comedy.
Yeah. And that's the problem. I feel like it would be...
They had this entire thing with that Rob Lowe being the alien that she slept with, and they readdressed that it could have been because he has pheromones, and not because she's cheating on him because she has indiscrepancies. No, but that didn't, like, it was just comedic and also like obnoxious. And then there was the point where you're like, oh hey, they mind raped those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where they decide to use the pheromones that make people love one another. They duplicated them, so now they have the strongest date rate drug on the black market, by the way.
Yeah.
But somehow everybody is susceptible to this guy's pheromones. No matter what species they are, they will constantly fall in love present with these pheromones. And I'm just like, really? Like, you don't think dogs and cats give off different pheromones than us? You don't think your cats, be sitting there being like, hey, I'm in heat, and you go, this cat's in heat, I'm gonna fuck it.
I mean,
no, work like that.
In terms of role playing, it's like it should be. I can understand having an alien whose pheromones are so strong it works on other species, but I would also like it depending on what species like he's trying to seduce. It's it would have random effects. Like some species, it would not have work at all. It's like
I prefer they go into rage.
Yeah, other ones it would have like an adverse effect or something that would do something different. It might poison them or something like that, or have them go into a rage, like you said. It's like
strong enough to influence your brain, they could definitely poison you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like there's like that's some real science fiction right there. It's like
science fiction is always about what have we done. Like, how did we box ourselves into a corner this time, humanity?
Yeah.
And it's the thing that I love about sci-fi is essentially we suck and we don't think we suck, but then we do something that really sucks, and then we have to either overcome the suck or die to the suck.
Or be better. Like be
good
better people.
You die to the suck.
Well, I think at the core of Star Trek is the idea of us overcoming our own personal suck. It's like we have to learn that
Star Trek is a sci-fi, but it's utopian.
Yeah, it's like we've overcome our suck, or we had to overcome our suck.
Well, here's the problem: you overcome the humanity's suck, and you get humanity moving in a direction What if it's the wrong direction is always the question.
And that's the thing,
What?
like...
Throw ourselves into the Delta Quadrant and encounter the Borg too early.
Yeah. Thanks, Q. But, like... Well, and actually, that's the thing. That's part of the interesting thing about Star Trek 2 is that even though it's kind of against Roddenberry's vision, because Roddenberry was like, no, humanity's perfect in the future. And other writers were like, yeah, but we can't get drama then. So it's like, one thing that's kind of come up with more recent Trek is that, like, yeah, we did kind of fix things, but, you know, we're still not... Humanity's still not perfect in the 24th century.
And humans suck balls.
Yeah, like the humans still suck. It's like we talk about how awesome we are and like and start spreading the Starfleet gospel. But we still make plenty of mistakes. There's still bad humans out there. There's still and like sometimes the Federation is the bad guy.
Like that wasn't too bad with the warmonger guy from Wrath of Khan. Not Into Darkness. That movie fucking sucked.
I like Into Darkness.
Into Darkness sucked.
You suck.
You suck mine. But anyhow,
I will. Give me some willpower back.
Okay.
Yes! I did it!
But, no. You're sucking aside, because you do it so good, and I can't concentrate on anything else. But, the movie was just bad, okay? I'd have to rewatch it and write it down, and I'd fill up a whole fucking notebook for you.
Listen. Orts and Kurtzy, or whatever their names are America's Hollywood sweethearts.
Who? What?
Kurtz and I think Ortsy and Kurtz are the guys that wrote that movie, and like they were this Hollywood tag team of writers for a while, and they were basically giant fucking hacks.
Yeah.
And, so that's part of the problem with the movie. I will concede the movie is flawed. I still enjoy it.
Into Darkness, you mean?
I like Into Darkness. I genuinely enjoy it.
I know you like Into Darkness. You like a lot of shit that's bad, but
you're a lot of shit that's bad.
I am. That's why you like me. But. Anyhow, the issues in that movie aside, God, what was my original point? Oh yeah, great thing about it though was that the bad guy was a guy from the fleet trying to jumpstart the military so that we would be prepared because he's paranoid. Like that's an actual human flaw. Like if you could just trace it back to this guy being paranoid instead of all the other bullshit that went on in the movie, it's a lot better movie. And because Star Trek, they really. Like, they screwed the pooch. Fucking, like Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg's there for nerd cred alone. He's not there because he's a particularly good nerd or anything like that. It's because nerds like him from his fucking movies. And not just any nerds, the people that think it's cool and hip to be a nerd. Because real nerds, no, I don't see it. But, he's not a bad fellow. He's just doing his job. Like, at the end of the day, if someone throws $2 million at me and says, write a script about, how Leia succumbs to the Sarlacc and it becomes like a 6-hour tentacle porn, but for some odd reason she's having fantasies about Yoda, I will find a way for that to make it work.
We will work on this. We will work on this wonderful, Leia Star Wars hentai that you and I will write.
No. This is just for the sake of saying weird, unnecessary shit.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be much easier just to have her banging Solo. Or banging Solo, wink, wink.
Or banging Jabba and multiple Gamoran pig guards and... Yeah, you've seen too much of this.
Hang
on, let me take up my porn search. Let me see what else. Lando.
Screw Lando. That's for the robot.
Oh, she did. Anyway.
The robot.
That didn't happen. That's not canon.
That's now canon.
That is not canon.
That's canon.
I reject Disney's continuity and substitute my own. Thank you very much.
It's canon. But anyway.
Expanded universe is canon.
No, Eddie, it's not. Because Disney's so smart. Anyhow.
I reject their continuity. I refuse to acknowledge it.
But yeah, getting back to Star Wars arguments, like, fucking... The Orville had potential. It really does still entertain me to watch, just because I didn't watch all these Star Wars shows and stuff like that.
Star Trek, but speaking of Star Wars, I accidentally put up, I actually put up a picture of the Huzong Vaughn, which are the aliens that were supposed to be, that were, the main bad guys at the end of the timeline. in the expanded universe, the real Star Wars continuity. Thank you very much. In which Lando did not fuck a robot toaster. It has nothing to do with anything, but I just put it up there. And
weren't those the guys that are like alien or vampires?
Kinda. They're like orcs. And again, I'm behind on the expanded universe. It's just I know it's good and awesome, and that's all I know. That's all I need. But I need to actually sit down and read the books.
Eddie doesn't need much.
I don't.
Keep it alive.
That's right. Damn fucking straight, sir.
But me, I'm a nihilist. There is no hope. It's all a lie. Anyhow,
I keep hope alive, but
the expanded universe has been retconned. And it's better, unfortunately. Like, it's because I think they didn't want to have to pay royalties to people because the main drive inside of corporations these days is only greed.
Yeah.
It's not customer loyalty or getting customers to come back, which would constantly produce you money. It's mostly about, hey, people are fucking bored, stupid sheep. I hate using that term, but we're going to corral them into our theaters by, just giving them the Mimbas.
See, here's the thing. You can only be so greedy and so obnoxious for so long until you annoy people.
You can be greedy and obnoxious forever. Look at Trump. He's been greedy and obnoxious for 70 years.
And he'll probably he just might get impeached and, maybe stuff worse charges for because of that.
Just might possibly get impeached.
I gotta believe in a better world, man. I can't live in your cynical.
I understand you're full of bullshit.
I fully acknowledge.
But guess what? You're living in the Last Jedi universe.
Then I will be a real Jedi, because you know what? Jedis never give up. That's what Mark Hamill says.
Jedis are people that don't get made by fish.
I am Luke Skywalker. I am a Jedi like my father before me. I am not Jake Skywalker. Fuck you, Darth Kathleen. Fuck you, Darth Rian Johnson, your purposefully spheroid head. Fuck you, sir. I gotta keep hope alive.
They're apparently like the arguments that I can't remember the names. The guy who plays Skywalker. What?
I don't know why you can't say things.
The actor's name who plays Luke Skywalker.
Mark Hamill?
Yeah, Mark Hamill. The arguments he had with fucking Rian Johnson about Luke Skywalker, he actually had those on the second movie as well. Not this movie. I'm talking about the second actual Star Wars movie with George Lucas.
You mean...
Apparently, he doesn't care either.
What, you mean George Lucas doesn't care?
Hamill doesn't care about his character in the way you think. Like, a lot of people like to try to say, well, Hamill tried to fight for him to be this and that. It's like, no, Hamill's just glad to get a fucking steady paycheck.
I can believe that, but why? Like, what does that take away from? Like, what are you talking about? Like, in terms of like him arguing with Lucas, though.
Back in the day, he was arguing about the direction, meaning of his character. Like, all the parties involved, there's not a single party involved with these movies anymore that care about the story more than they care about a dollar.
Well, that's how what makes the world go round, sir.
You keep saying, I have to believe the world's a better place, but I'm going to excuse evil.
I acknowledge it exists. I accept the fact that it exists. What do you like? We've been trying to expunge it for our entire existence, and it may never be expunged. I accept that, and I live as if the world is as it should be in spite of it. That's how I choose to use. I think he's a nice man, and
This is why The Last Jedi exists, because people have that.
You're absolutely right. This is directly the reason why The Last Jedi exists. It's totally not because these people fucked up. Listen, these people are greedy. They want to make money off of a property. I'm fine with that. I will throw money at them. But at the same time, you got to give us what we want. You got to give us an actual product that's worth watching. You can't just give us shit. Oh, yeah. And that's what they gave us. It's like you go to
the strip club and you see the C rank.
Yeah.
You ever been to a strip club on like a weekday during like 12 p.m.?
No.
My friend who enjoys sadness, I think it's his fetish. My friend who enjoys sadness goes to these strip clubs at random hours. And let me tell you, it's depressing. Like seeing these single moms up there who are like kind of off looking. Like when you go to you don't have to go to a shitty strip club where you find like, those girls trying to jack you off in the back room and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. the entirety of
Also
all
known
my
as a good strip club.
What?
Also known as a good strip club.
Yeah, enjoy your herp. But anyhow, the entirety of all my strip club experiences is because of this dude being like, "Hey, you got like 3 hours to sit around and feel bad." And I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't mind feeling bad. No, that's not how it goes. He always talks it up. He's always like, "That's gonna be great." And I'm like, "Man, the last time I went, it fucking sucked. I don't like these things." And he's like, "No. We're gonna have a good time this time. You just wait and see. This one, it just has all the soda you can drink." And I'm like, "Oh, there's a big selling point at a strip club, drinking soda." But anyhow,
the guys that eat at a strip club.
It's
titties
that's
to quote Chris Rock, titties and tank tops.
Like how low people can go for money. That's essentially what I think about. Is those strippers I saw, the sad, hollow-eyed women that are like, "I just need to pay my rent. I know that there's not much to look at." You remember one lady walked up to us while we're sitting there, and she thought I was looking at the stripper. I was drawing a cow, and
you would.
I took my art pad because I was like, I don't want to go. And when I don't want to do something, or when I'm expecting not to have a good time, or anything, I bring my art pad just to doodle.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that in case somebody's like, "He had an art pad around me." And it's like, yep, it's because I hate you. That's the exact reason, not because I'm just a fucking ADD kid. Anyhow, she comes up and she points at the stripper on stage. She's like, "Yeah, you couldn't tell she had a kid 2 weeks ago." And I'm like, "Yeah, I could." Like, it was just those really uncomfortable things. And you're like seeing a lady that's like, maybe just fell out of that hole that she's throwing around on stage at us.
Yeah. That's not hot. That's like, you should be in the hospital recovering.
It's like, that's how much people want money nowadays, though. Like, poor people even. People that are never going to see massive amounts that give them all the security and wonderment that is being super wealthy. Think about it, Eddie. Being rich is about removing all the shit that being poor sucks about. Like, you don't have to care about police fines, because $250 don't matter. You don't have to care about, oh man, should I go out to this diner? Do I have enough money to eat? You don't have to care about how much it costs. You walk into a store, you buy a bunch of shit, you leave. It's like life is how it's supposed to meant to be lived if you were inside of the Federation when you're that rich. And so you gotta admit, that's a very appealing thought. Would you live in the Star Trek universe?
Well, I would live in the Star Trek universe for a variety of reasons. That would be one, but the other reason would just be because I'd be in the Star Trek universe. It was just like, I want to meet a Klingon.
That's super dope, yes.
Yeah.
But my point being is that, people and their avarice, yeah, it's like they'll do anything for the money, and it doesn't matter how shitty that product is, they're still going to try to sell it.
Yeah.
And the sad part is thanks to fucking neoliberals and their ability to be persuaded just because they threw in the Rainbow Coalition of the day, that they'll buy it. Yeah. And it pisses me off to no end. Like, if you've ever wanted to hear a person go on a rant about a movie for a few hours, just talk to me about Wonder Woman. Eddie knows. But
I don't think I've heard this argument.
You never heard my Wonder Woman argument?
No, I have not.
Are you fucking joking?
I have not heard your Wonder Woman argument. I was all ready to put this nice. I've been putting up nice pictures this entire time. I have a perfectly tasteful picture up right now, not at all a skeezy one. And I was about to pick up a nice Star Trek picture. Oh, you'll find out.
Oh God.
You'll find out later.
Get yourself banned. Anyhow.
I hope so. It's clearly a joke. Nothing's happening. I mean,
hold on. Let me get into the fucking Wonder Woman argument real fast. So that in case someone's listening,
I'll find an appropriate picture, but I'm putting up Star Trek for the time being. I want Kirk on this picture. You're gonna have a picture. You're gonna have a picture of Kirk and Spock, and you're gonna like it.
Hot, thick Kirk.
Yeah, hot, thick, sexy Kirk on Spock action. You're gonna like it.
Oh, baby. You know what? Man, now I'm sad Nimoy is dead. Why do you gotta keep bringing up shit that makes me unhappy?
I'm sorry.
I was thinking about how sad I was the other day that Gene Wilder's been dead for 2 now.
He's been dead for a while, yeah. I mean, it's I've already mourned both of them, so I'm good. But it's like I stopped
mourning. That's my problem. Anyhow, so it's sad to lose people. Like that's why I'm like this very awkward creature, I guess, is because I can stay sad for long periods of time. And damn you, Solitaire, for ruining my somber moment.
I'm sorry. I'll always love.
Let me just rip into this movie really fast.
Go ahead. Rip into one. That'll make you feel better.
You guys need to first envision like Jurassic Park and all the scenes they didn't show you because it was PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I really start getting into this, because I rip apart this movie all the time. I've had like a million arguments. Someone will post something about Wonder Woman, and I'm like, yeah, it's not that great. Like,
it's really not. It's really not that great.
It's a fucking masterpiece. And I'm just like, okay, now you've pissed me off. But, like, the problem the movie has, it doesn't even pass the Bushdell test if you make one minor adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
War is her man. Like, the Bushdell test, are you aware of it, Eddie?
You explained it to me, but I can't remember it, so refresh my memory.
See, the fact that I explained it to you leads me to believe I've had this, like look forward to.
Not specifically about Wonder Woman, though, so keep going.
The Bushdell test essentially is your female character round, or a complete woman. Like, they don't have to go into the fucking tampons they use and shit like that. No, it's just asking, does your character talk to another woman without talking about a man? Does your female character, essentially is your character more than an accessory to making this man look more sexual, more advantageous, more powerful, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. Like, lots of women characters, they're just an accessory. They're there. Like, they subverted it because Pixar has always done amazing work. I don't know how Pixar is so constantly good, but they are. Nonetheless, like, that's who they should have writing for their fucking team for Star Wars, by the way, is Pixar. They had Pixar writing for it. You'd have, like, the second movie, you would fucking cry.
They can't do that. Then the movie would be good.
Yeah. But, so, anyhow, I'm getting off on a tangent because that's what I'm right. But, Wonder Woman, Bushdell test. If war is her man, she talks to everybody about war. And, like, I don't know how they always make these awkward scenes. This is just a complaint I have about movies in general that do this. I'm a woman that's never seen a man. The first thing, we're going to start talking about sex within 15 minutes, though.
Yeah.
I've never encountered a man. I don't know where babies come from.
I don't know what to put where.
Like, she seems to have awareness of her sexual urges, too, which I'm like, really now? Wonder Woman? Made of clay? Fucking growing up with puberty? That's interesting. But then, of course, movie changed her origin to being, I guess, born somehow instead of, like, Aries.
I was not aware of this. Well, they did stupid shit in the comics. Like, her origin story is one of the most creative and interesting in all of comics. She is literally made of clay. And Hippolyta wanted a daughter but couldn't have any because they wouldn't have any men on the island. So the
other thing though.
I think it was Hera told her to go to the shore. One of the goddesses told her to go to the beach, forge a little baby out of clay, and then the gods blessed it and granted it life and gave it also their power. She has the beauty of Aphrodite, the strength of Artemis, strength of Athena, and like the wisdom of just like she's got the strength of Hercules. She's got all these powers of the Greek gods.
Hercules' strength, like the braces she wears, the rope and stuff. That's when Hercules came and subjugated the Amazons.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't. I'm probably getting it wrong exactly. But basically, like her powers come from the Greek gods.
Yeah, they do.
I'm sure I'm getting the actual gods wrong, and fans by means inform me. However,
because
what I do know what's happening is
the series, to my knowledge, inside the animated series, that's where I get most of my information. Because I'm a big animated slut. But her daddy is Pluto. Pluto being
not Pluto, Hades. That was actually, it was hinted at that he might be her father, but he's not. It was like he did have a relationship of some kind with Hippolyta in Justice League Unlimited.
Oh,
and
okay.
they changed it in the Wonder Woman movie to Ares. And where it's basically straight up explained that like Ares raped her and gave birth to a half god child. In
Man,
that one.
all right, I understand the Greeks got a thing for raping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, even I think that it could be integral to a story. I ain't gonna just say that there's never a good time to use it. But at the same time, just like did they include that in the movie because of it being necessary, or to sort of instill more of that generic men are evil inside of like this feminist story? And
Well, and that's the thing. I remember like Professor Otaku was complaining about the movie for that reason. How it was like ultra feminist, and I didn't feel it was ultra feminist at the time. I still feel like that movie works because like the movie is set up to basically explain that they are wrong. Like they were wrong to eschew men, and like the movie like points out several times that they were wrong to do that.
yeah,
So
indeed.
I mean, I didn't see. I felt like everybody was wrong in that movie, and that's why I liked it. It was like Wonder Woman, Hippolyta were wrong. Steve Trevor was wrong. They all learned something and became better people by the end of the movie. Like, the Amazons learned to accept men again and go back to man's world. And Steve Trevor learned to be a better person. Everybody
If they
learned
accepted
something.
men, why aren't the Amazons a part of the world later on when they're being attacked? Shit.
Well, they are. They like the whole point of her comic is she is the ambassador to man's world, and she's basically,
Yeah, but the Amazons still don't integrate.
They show up every now and then. Like when we need help, they show up.
They show up inside the comics. Like the fact is that they're just writing themselves into whole. That's just what DC does now.
I forgot when you got cut off there for a second.
I was saying DC wrote itself into a hole with this one because essentially, like they were always there, really. Yeah.
It depends on the writer, because sometimes some writers will reference that and do something cool with it. It's like Artemis and a lot of the other Amazon characters became would go on adventures in man's world with Wonder Woman. So we would see Amazons come over. The Amazons did start sharing technology with the rest of the world, so they played on that. And then you have like really bad shit, like Dan DiDio's favorite thing, Amazons Attack, where the Amazons are complete bitches and attacked us, and and haven't learned anything in all the time that Wonder Woman's been around. But actually, I do want you to talk about Wonder Woman, but I want to do a slight tangent real quick. Let's talk about like rape as a story device, and like specifically, Oxenius's like suggestion of using it for one of his sisters in Dents. It's like what
Rape? I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, he did. He was living the he was listing his backstory for like all of his other sisters, and like one of them was raped at a certain age, and then
really? God, I didn't read this shit.
Yeah, that was he
sent me a wall of text, and I'm always like,
it's in the trust episode. It's in the trust episode.
Oh yeah, I also I remember hearing something about the rape, and I was why.
Yeah, and it was like I wanted to go into that. It was like because why did he?
All right, let me get this out really fast, just to explain why I'm so like you use rape in a story.
Yeah,
it's not because it's offensive or because it's bad and stuff like that. My reasoning is totally because of the 90s. Yeah. A long time ago in the 90s, anytime they wanted to create an immediately edgy character, they either had dead parents, and then later on, when that wasn't edgy enough, they were raped.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. Like, they were like, oh, this character needs to be more edgy. What happened to her? She got raped by that guy. Fucking, what's the name of that movie with the girls playing witches? The Coven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking
like the...
cruel, crazy bitch. Yeah. Vicky Valancourt. Yeah. Vicky Valancourt was raped.
Yeah.
And it's like, she doesn't seem like a basic bitch who would get herself in a situation like that. And the idea is, I guess, more so that she was date raped, and the guy lied and said, I love you, baby, blah, blah. And then when they got in public, slut. And, maybe that kind of idea. But at the same time, like, for him to pull it out, like, for me, I'm always like, for one, his character's comic relief. For his character to bring in suddenly strangely deep and provocative information like this doesn't mesh.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I remember, I want to say, I think we're talking about the same character. We're talking about like the main witch of the Coven, right? The main like bad guy girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, she struck me as, like shitty home life. It was like, I figured, like, the rapist would probably be, like, her dad or something like that.
Maybe.
But, like,
I don't know that well. I wasn't a 90s girl, so I didn't watch it because it made me feel tingly inside seeing her. So, whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't think I've ever really sat through The Coven. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but it's like,
Sample.
yeah, like Coven to me is just like hot witch goth chicks. Yeah.
Yay.
Christine Taylor as a rapist.
Goth chicks.
I'm in love with Christine Taylor. I'm totally in love with her and everything she's in. So.
I don't know who she is.
What's that? Oh, it's Ben Stiller's wife. She's like the main girl in Dodgeball. Huh?
Christine what?
Christine Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah, she's Ben Stiller's wife, and she's like the main woman in Dodgeball, a true underdog story.
Oh, Ben Stiller. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I thought you were saying like Teller from Penn and Teller. I'm like Teller.
Well, I would fuck Teller, but that's not the point. But no, Christine Taylor she's freaking.
You know, what's a great thing about that? Teller would never tell anybody.
That's true. That's true. No one would ever know, but me and
Actually,
him.
I love that he's got the Silent Man routine.
Yeah.
That's Man and Bob, like, routine that they got going.
Yeah.
Or Silent Bob and Jake. Yeah, whatever.
Jay and Silent Bob.
We're going to say it backwards. Jay, yeah. But I love that he does that, and he's so fucking serious about it, too.
Yeah.
Like, whenever he's in character, he is in character.
Yeah.
Like, he was on that Fear show they used to have.
Fear Factor?
Yeah, Fear Factor. There you go. He was on that. He did the entire thing without talking, and I'm just this fucking guy.
Nice.
Like, everybody's walking around doing crazy shit, screaming their ass off, and he's just being himself. He's like Mr. Magoo, but doesn't talk. And I couldn't take it, because I'm always like, this fucking guy. And then I finally heard him talk when he was doing a presentation about magic.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy shit, he's not a mute. Like, he had kept up the mirage for so long that I didn't know until I was 27.
Yeah. It's like, can he talk? It's like, yeah, he's really good. So.
He's really good. All right, go back to what you're saying. Christine.
Yeah, I think I was really just kind of confused as to why Oxenius chose to do that with his sister. It's like, it felt like he was just picking random shit for his background.
Well, lots of people go to rape as a cheap writer's ploy. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
And it's from the 90s, is they were like, man, how do I make this character dark and edgy?
Yeah.
Or how do I have strife with this character? And I'm like, big R word. And they're like, oh, I got an idea. They were raped. And I'm like, okay. So
I think I'm guilty of this too. It's like my vampire character, when I first played Vampire the Masquerade, I established that like his wife was raped by the Nazis, like shortly before he was embraced. It was like, because I wanted him to have a really tragic backstory, you know. And so she was raped and murdered. The kids were murdered.
Died of the fucking potato famine. That's plenty tragic.
Yeah, I know, but I was like, it is.
Or he stepped through there, got the embrace somewhere around the time of the Black Plague.
My vampire
in the house.
Listen,
he sat there and watched his dead family rot.
MALMODO, listen. Isambard, my first vampire character, was my first edgelord character. and that's why he is the way he is. It was like, I've been there, I've done that.
Makes a lot more sense. Yeah. When you're actually able to take a step back and go, that was just a silly-ass, dark character for the sake of being dark.
Yeah, I still like that character. I'm still like, that's got a place in my heart, but it was like, I see my flaws as a writer and a creator for that. It was like, we could also argue, yeah, like, again, I feel like a lot of the stuff in role-playing where, like, I've been watching a lot of these people, like, Taking 20, and, like, a lot of people talk about, like, some of the worst player characters, things like that. A lot of the tropes they bring up, it's like, we've all done that before. We've all been a murder hobo at some point.
I actually only have one murder hobo, only because I was playing a thief.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, I think the thing is, though, they're tropes that pop up. There's not necessarily anything wrong with playing these characters. There's nothing wrong with a player being an edgelord or being a stereotype, a D&D stereotype.
Inside of games is play God, but an incompetent one, like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
where it's like I'm just walking around bumbling through my day, but nothing happens to me, despite the fact that there is 50 trained elven assassins coming for my head.
Yeah. Or like Mr. Bean, just dodging
That's
arrows.
actually like my goal in every game is to end up as.
Say it again.
My goal in every game is to become Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean. It's like,
hey, I see you've got a thick purse there, and I'm like, oh yes, he's lovely.
They're right about to snatch it from you and just walk away.
Your money or your life. Your GP or your HP. oh, rude. And just like humble off. And they're like, get him! They're chasing me down. I end up having to sprint a little and stumble over shit, and shit falls just as it may in a lucky way that they end up like careening through the alley and fall down a well.
Yeah. There was like one like mini role-playing game that me and my friend were running, and I think I was playing, because again, you know me, I'm annoying and I play things I shouldn't play. I was playing Alice Tinker from Vicar of Dibley, who's like an English lady who's basically retarded, and the other guy was playing a werewolf, and he was like he was gonna kill me, and like but I was like on the side of a cliff, and I was like not paying attention at all while I'm talking to a wolf person, and that he doesn't like me. And, like, he decided to leap at me and kill me, and my defense was, it's like, oh, she gets distracted by something and bends down to pick it up, and he flies overhead and falls off the cliff. And I won. It was beautiful.
Oh, God. Those serious players always hurt in the nuts. So I hate the fucking dramatic system you use, where it's like, yes, anybody can do anything. And it's like, no, not everybody can do everything. You stop lying to those children that think they're going to be astronauts.
They can be astronauts. They just believe.
Everybody has the opportunity, but they don't have the possibility.
Well, it's not that it's not possible. It's just highly improbable.
Mm-hmm. Your statement is illogical. Anyhow, so yeah, getting back to your point where you were at earlier with the Christine Taylor, because we tangent hardcore. Like I don't even remember what we were talking about 12 minutes ago.
We were talking about Wonder Woman at first, but I wanted to make fun of Oxenius for like having his character. I wanted to make fun of. I've been thinking about that whole list of like the sisters, and it's like, okay, so like this one girl has. Okay, because here's the thing. So as you know, I made Shell with central casting with edits from you and me because you wouldn't let me have a best friend who was a carapace golem because you're a racist and you don't like carapace golems.
Yes, I'm racist against carapace golems in the real world.
And I'm fine with that because at the end of the day, like, it was too crazy and it helped us, like, kind of refine her. And that's cool. But it was, like, part of the reason I fought you on the whole thing of that, like, oh, maybe your granddad raped you was because in central casting, like, that's something you can roll. You can roll that basically as part of your backstory you had, like, something bad happen to you. Like, yeah, getting molested as a kid is something that can pop up in that backstory. And since it did not happen to Shelley when I rolled it, I'm like, no, she's fine. No rape. My granddad loved me in the way you're supposed to. No, bad DM. Slap you on the wrist. It's like that. That's why I fought you on that. But it was like, I'm not sure what he did to come up with this. It feels like he was picking random stuff. But it was like, oh, and this sister was, I had a really good relationship with this sister, and this sister helped me get, like, financially started and stuff like that. And this sister got raped when she was 10. And it's like, what? It was like, and she doesn't like the other sister because she feels like she gets all this attention. It's like, it was just like where, like, the writing was just careening off of a cliff at a certain point. And then there was the other sister who was like, was into kimonos, or like a specific type of kimono, because Oxenius is such a giant weeb. He's just such a giant unapologetic weeb, and he can't help it. And it's just like, no, and it's just, I don't know. It was very interesting listening to that. I felt like, you just like, no, I will not, no, none of this weeb shit. It's like
I'm a great big weeb. I don't have a problem with weeb, but like, I can only stand so much weeb.
Exactly.
Like,
weeb gets old fast.
No, it's not that. It's actually quite rare. As a person who's into anime and all that other shit, like earlier today when I found out you liked know a little bit about Berserk, it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Nobody I know is into Berserk.
Yeah, Berserk is awesome. Berserk kicks ass. I'm a little behind on Berserk, but it was like, yeah, I fucking
don't worry. But considering how often fucking Mira goes on hiatus, you will never be behind. You will never have to worry that you won't be able to catch up.
Yeah.
Because this motherfucker will take like 8 months hiatus in the middle of nowhere. He's been writing the shit since I was born. The shit is as old as me.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker is like, you know, every now and again, like, dude, I've been doing this for 30 years. Let me go do something else. Just let me go ride a bike. Anything, please. And they're like, fine. And his artwork is really good. So this guy's hands must just be gnarled into the shape that holds a pen. And they just stuff a little quill between his fingertips that have become, you know, crippled in one shape from having to draw all this long time.
Yeah.
But that's why I wouldn't allow the weeb stuff, though, because, like, I'm sitting there being like, how difficult it is for me to find people that are into the same shit I'm into of the male gender.
Yeah.
The female gender is the fucking crown jewel of every geek society.
Yeah.
No matter what. If you're in fucking nerds inside of gaming, they're talking that plays games. I don't fucking know. But then when you get into fucking weeaboo shit, it's like you have your obvious stars and cosplay models, but you're like, holy shit, it's a regular old fucking girl. And like, admittedly, you go to cons, you find them in plenty, and you realize after that, oh yeah, you only saw 200 people that were into anime, about 60 of them were women, and they came from a 2-state radius.
Yeah.
Like, I remember going to a con in Tampa. It was a pretty decent-sized con. It had, like, 2,000 attendees. And people came from fucking New York. People came from Washington.
Yeah.
Because it was a big con.
There are women that like anime.
There's 2,000 fucking weeaboos here. And I'm like, this is probably all the weeaboos who aren't in their basement currently in America.
This is true. It's like, well, yeah, people, like, that's the thing. It's at the end of the day, that's why I gave Doug so much shit when it, like, I don't know. His character, I swear to God. It's like, part of the reason I give him so much shit is that it was like, I mean, he just gets weirder and weirder every time, like, he talks. But it was like, one of the first things, it's like, okay, so this hot babe is hanging out with you, and you're gonna go home and watch an anime. And it was like, and that's the reason why my reaction to that was just like, oh, Japanime. It's like, no, she ain't interested.
Gay.
What's that?
I'm gonna make his character gay no matter what. He'll probably get rid of his character. So many people are petty like that. No, but I
do like your quote. I think the boy might be gay.
Complain about, however, his choice of story direction. And I admit, it's his background. He could do whatever he wants. It's just stuff I'm going to touch. Because for me, if it's like dull and samey, it's just like, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, but it's, back to the let's making fun of Doug. I have a picture of Yu Yu Hakusho up right now because I don't have any Berserk images on this computer, and if I go look for them online, it's going to slow.
Yu Yu Hakusho is more his line, anyways.
Yeah,
he's a soft weeb.
I think Yu Yu Hakusho is like it's on his list. I think he hasn't watched it yet. He's going to, which he should because it's a great show.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot. He's like the newer age weeb because he's young. Yeah, so their access to television started around like Dragon Ball GT, which is nifty if you're into that. I mean, I'm into DBZ, but you know, it gets out there after a while. Yeah. But it's also Naruto and shit like that, and Naruto is just the worst.
Naruto does suck. Naruto, I felt like it started okay, but then after a while, I'm like, no.
It had a great start. I loved it. I read the manga for. Then out of nowhere, it's just like, by the way, this is going to just be us chasing down one character over the series of several stories, and I'm like, oh okay.
We had a strong fan reaction.
It's like the problem I have with other stuff, like Black Clover. It's just fucking. And the fan reaction was huge. You couldn't go to a con without seeing just a plethora of people dressed as those fucking ninjas.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. Naruto was just a massive disappointment. It was like, at the end of the day, it's like everybody kind of... I have a lot of problems with it. It's like... I think what I liked about it was I liked Naruto's story himself. Is that he was a very good protagonist who wanted to prove himself and had this kind of secret darkness within him. It was just like... It's all kind of like, you know, it was. I think also like one thing that would kind of get me revved up was like the ending music.
Believe it.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that, but it was like, although I probably should have. But after a while, I think it was the tune-in exams. The tune-in exams, I realized this show is the same fucking thing every episode. It's just it's a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh match, but with bullshit ninja magic. And every episode, like, it started doing that DBZ time shit where it's like, this is actually a short amount of time, but we're, like, extending
Everybody's talking.
Yeah, everybody's talking about every single fight, every single time. They're all saying
the worst part is they're talking to each other during these times. And it's like shit's happening in the blink of an eye, and they're, like, able to have commentary on it. These guys
it's ridiculous.
They have to speed talk, though. They have to sit there and be like, did you see that? No, I didn't see that. Like, they have to talk so incredibly fast to keep a pace of the events as proper narrators.
Maybe in that universe they are. Maybe in that universe they can talk that fast.
Maybe people just telepathically communicate during those fights. Yeah. Whatever. It's still garbage. And it's garbage that everybody ate the fuck up. And that's why I have no faith in fucking The Last Jedi and them getting their shit together, is because its Halo is one of the best anime fuckings ever by so many weebs I meet. They're like, oh man, did you like Naruto? And I'm like, and they're like, what? And they have to go over it with me as if I've missed something.
Yeah.
The same thing in Doctor Who.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I think it's kind of like the new wave of like popular culture stuff. It's like, as an old guy, it's like, again, anime in the 90s and like early 2000s was really cool, and there was really good stuff.
Like, it's kind of like you wasted your existence. Like, you were born 12 years before everything got cool.
Yeah, and it was.
And it's like, if you were born a little bit later, you could have just went. No, you were born earlier than that. You were born like 20 years too early. But
well, I was born in the 80s. I got some good shit. I got Ninja Turtles, man.
No, because you also got fucking to live through 9/11. Like, imagine the next generation where they have all this shit at their fingertips, all these crazy games and crap like that, and no grounding. They don't have Nintendo Hard. They don't have an era where they didn't have to pay for content on a fucking game that you already fucking bought.
Yeah, actually, you know, come to think of it, one thing I've been trying to track down is I've been trying to track down old, like, Microsoft DOS games that you cannot play anymore. You like, there's like some of them like
they actually shut down one of the emulator sites recently. I think they came in like gangbusters, but that was Nintendo. It's because people want to play Pokemon on their phone, goddammit. But and not fucking Pokemon Go because it's a piece of shit. Man, I could just rant about shit all day if I'm given the chance, because Pokemon Go makes me sad. I was thinking about it the other day because someone brought it up. But Pokemon Go was the closest thing we had for world peace for like a month there.
I hated Pokemon Go. I'm glad it's no. That was an era. That was an era of fucking people wandering around in your backyard to fight Pokemon. Fuck that shit.
No, it's not that. The main problem I had with it was it's actually a bad game. Niantic just took Pokemon, slapped it over their old game Egress and their old system, and then acted like it was this complete polished game that we were promised in commercials that showed fucking Pokemon running around in the goddamn fields with people.
Yeah, it's pretty
so dumb. Pissed off that it's bad. Like, there's a level of irate in me because I wanted to get into Pokemon again, all over again, have epic Pokemon battles and shit like that. And it's like, no, fuck that. You're gonna get this stupid swipey game. Swipey, press. Swipey, press. Swipe, press. And it's like, no, fuck you. Fuck your fucking stupid idea of what a game is. This isn't entertainment. This doesn't take skill. It's a timing game as bad as fucking Fruit Ninja.
Well, according to this, like 11 months ago, like Vim's Lair got taken down.
Vim's Lair?
Yeah, that was like one of the best ones. Thank God I got most of my good emulators from that too. But yeah, well, okay, I guess Nintendo doesn't want my fucking money anymore. It's like, if they would just make these things available to people... That's the thing. The reason why people emulate and the reason why people pirate this shit is because they don't make them available. If you just make it fucking available, I'll fucking do it. I'll fucking buy it. But they don't fucking... They don't
no, the issue is Nintendo has always been pretty hardcore about their copyright. But if you own the game already, you're allowed to have an emulated copy of it.
Yeah.
So essentially, I already paid my dues. But other than that, nope, you can't have it. And the annoying part is, like, you can't just have a legitimate site that checks against your barcode of the game or anything like that and gives you a downloadable copy.
Yeah.
That's because they want to make you buy it again sometime. Just like if the fact is that you can't, like Game Boys, they have little batteries in them. When they first came out, like Pokemon Red, the battery would last for like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
When they came out Pokemon Silver, the second generation, 2 years later, the batteries only lasted for like 2 years. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's like that's the only way they can make you rebuy the game. Except at the same time, it's like, oh man.
Well,
that's,
I hope Vim Slayer will be back up again eventually. I mean, but someone's gonna fucking do this again. You can't stop the signal, man.
Oh no, I mean they're getting better at it. That's probably why the net neutrality thing is such a piece of shit to me. Yeah.
What do you mean?
This shit comes full circle. Allows them to police the internet better for stuff like that and shut down sites.
Yeah, but they're also going to make the fucking internet unstable. That's the thing.
What?
They're going to make the internet unstable by doing shit like that. Well, I'm not going to... Well, just on that note,
because they closed a site?
Yeah, that's not... Well, no, there's issues with, like, the whole, like, yeah, this came up before. Like, that was the problem with, like SOPA and PIPA. Is, like, the stuff that they're asking for by getting rid of net neutrality. It's like, yeah.
That's what SOPA and people were doing! Now that they've gotten rid of it, they don't have to agree.
What?
SOPA and PIPA and net neutrality are all interlinked. They're the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
They're trying to find ways to control the internet.
They're trying to control the internet. Yeah, exactly.
Now your ISP doesn't have to worry about what they throttle. If your ISP's in bed with like fucking Time Warner or fucking Disney, they can immediately just go, hey, these sites that we don't like because they have content of ours available to people who didn't pay for it are going to get closed down. And that sounds great to a capitalist. However, it's also terrible. It's like a lot of people were exposed to varieties of music through Napster and LimeWire and all that other shit they would have never discovered on their own.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's fucking stupid. They think about the short term and don't realize that basically these stuff actually promotes commerce. It actually makes people interested in their products.
And most people get it as security, like an insurance plan, where they go, oh man, I don't want my shit to be destroyed and I not have any copies of it.
Yeah.
So as long as the real physical copy, they have no reason to be pissed that they have a digital copy.
Yeah.
Josh. Fucking. Ugh.
Well, I can vouch that there are still a bunch of like emulator sites online.
Oh yeah, you really can't stop the signal is right.
Yeah.
But you can make it where there's a firewall around a country so that they can't see it.
Yeah. So I mean that's the thing. It's like it's easy.
Oh, by the way, Google is getting more and more evil.
What are they doing now?
Their "don't be evil" shit is practically a lie now. But they bought information from MasterCard about sales. So it's partially MasterCard being a shitty company and partially Google turning more and more shitty, on top of the other stuff they were doing, like developing a firewall for China or a specialized search engine for China only that's essentially part of their firewall.
So, well, I'm not surprised by this. See, listen, I don't deny that the world is a shitty place and there's a lot of horrible things in it, but I mean, I feel like all the more reason not to be cynical. You got to push back. You got to fight back. Because it's like you may not, you win sometimes. If you fucking make enough noise, if you fuck with them enough, sometimes you can get a little bit of good done.
Well, you brought up George Carlin earlier. This is why George Carlin took minor side of the downfall of humanity, is he was seeing them reap their just rewards.
Yeah, exactly. It was like,
and he knew he was going to die. Like he
was talking about that. He was talking about years before he left, though. He had
I know.
Yeah, he had problems with his heart like throughout his life, though. Like
Really?
He's always been old. I remember when I was a kid, when I was like back in the 80s, he was still kind of a young dude, like at 50. Or like,
yeah.
So it was like, yeah, but he was
like 40s.
He was just matured. And it was like, and then from then on, he was always a grandpa. Because again, I grew up in the 80s, so he was Rufus. He was Rufus from from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. He was Mr. Conductor from
God,
Showtime
Bill
Station.
Ted's Excellent Adventures. He was like late 40s because I remember he was bald and bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like
That's the last time I saw him with dark hair.
Yeah, and like those three, him, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter were all over that franchise because they had 2 movies, but they were also they also had a live action show.
I wonder if that's why they won't do another one.
Probably not. Yeah, I mean, they were in the animated series too. The animated series, they did the voice acting for a long time. I think like towards the end of it, like they had someone else doing George Carlin. Like he started doing something else at that point. But it was like, yeah, they were all over that. And that's part, like, there's even like little jokes. There's one of the animated episode is like they're in like a music store and they run into Rufus who gives them advice. And he's like, now this is interesting. And it's like, and he's picking up he's picking up one of his CDs. It's like Carlin, and it's like him making jokes, and it's like he's basically promoting his comedy CD, his comedy records. That was pretty awesome. So, but no, it's like but yeah, you can't stop the signal, man. It's like they screw with us, but it's like, you know, and hopefully Vim's World will be back up eventually.
Yeah,
and,
I'm a dystopian sort of person. I foresee people just walking into it, like everybody's all about the Orwellian this and that, and well, the actual Orwellian definition is proper, but for me, it's Brave New World, where everybody's just like, whatever. I got my little bit of entertainment. I'm okay to go. And it's just this slowly more and more cynical society. Not cynical like I like to use it, which is actual cynicism of the Grecian variety, but cynicism in the kind where it's like, why give a fuck about other people? They're not me. I can barely make it by, but I'm making it, you know? So I don't want to hear any excuses from other people why they can't make it.
Well, we've already been there. That was like a lot of the
entire history of the world.
That was like the early 20th century, basically. It was like a lot of the people.
The entire history of the world. People have always been callous pieces of shit.
Yeah, and also like, but post-industrialism, like in the 50s and 60s, people like they hated the hippies in the 60s because they were actually like complaining about a lot of the unfairness in the workplace that was going on.
Yeah.
And but they were, and a lot of the older generation just basically worked and was miserable, and they didn't complain about it, and they were actually like they would shit on the younger generation who was actually wanting to say that this is wrong. This is not cool that people have to go through this.
What is that? It's like not change at all.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, that was part of like Death of a Salesman. When I was reading that,
gotcha.
It was like, because that's the thing. Willie Loman is the type of guy who would work and go through a bunch of shit and like get treated like crap, and then wouldn't. When you get the same person who basically his younger son realizes this isn't okay, it's like, you know, he wouldn't. He would he's the type of person who would have just worked and worked and worked himself to death, and not and that's just the way it was. He wouldn't complain about it. Whereas, like, you know, later on, people realize, yeah, you know, maybe
the entire story of Death of the Salesman.
Capitalism is not the best idea, maybe, you know.
Oh no, the entire story I remember about Death of the Salesman is they were sitting there lying to themselves about how great they were working these shitty jobs, and their son came in being like, "Dude, it's a lie," and they're like, "No, it isn't," and that's essentially the ending with the dad killing himself for the insurance money.
Yeah. And they didn't have to because they were already paid. They basically already paid off the mortgage to their house. There was no reason to do that. So, but yeah, back to Doug. Let's make fun of Maxenius. That's funny.
I don't want to. I don't want to make fun of players just how they play the characters. I'm just saying I have to critique. There's a difference between making fun of and critiquing
let's
it.
Let's make fun of weebs. Let's make fun of weebs. I think like. Well, okay, again, like, but yeah, for me, like, Flutterbudgets was like, there's a strange sort of like, he's kind of a goofy, like, he's actually one of like Oxenius' more competent characters. He's very, he was the smart guy, but like kind of a buffoon. He just doesn't realize that he winds up like, but he was competent. He does know what he's talking about, but he's kind of like overly serious. Like, kind of has an overly serious view of himself, and he does fuck up, and it's hilarious, and it's like, oops, and then he just tries to find a way to, like, fix it. So, like, there's a dignity about that. I feel like Flutterbudgets is the most reflective of Oxenius himself as a person. Whereas Doug, it's like, I don't know what happened. It's just like, it got crazier and crazier and nuttier and screwier as time went on. It's just like...
It's polarization. It happens.
It's just this strange evolution this character's gone through. It's like, okay, I'm based off of Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist. It's like, okay, I'm a Street Fighter character. I'm here to like punch people and become. I'm Ryu. I want to run around and like become the greatest fighter in the world. And it's like,
yeah, I just like when I encounter players that don't know what they're doing with fluxing around. I'm okay with it. Just let them run around with it, see if they die or can find something for their character to feel like they're accomplishing something.
Yeah.
Like for me, as a storyteller, it's about evoking feeling. And so people don't get gratitude for your story if they just sit there and chop up all the goblins and all that other stuff. I mean, if they're the kind of sad, pathetic guy that has the shitty life where they have to go and successfully kill goblins, they have a freak out moment, then I can understand why they need it. But I try to go for those more gratifying feelings of, worry, concern, overcoming that, victory.
I mean, there's a powers fantasy level to role-playing, I definitely agree, but I think the thing is, it's like, the story is the most rewarding, at least to me. It's like, I like a little bit of everything. Like, I'm on the Bartle test, I'm in the Explorer column. It's like, I like killing, I like achieving, and I like socializing, but at the end of the day, I like to explore worlds. That's what I like the story more than anything else. So it's like, and I think that's the most rewarding thing. It's like it makes the other things more like enjoyable. Like killing the monsters is more fun when there's a good story attached to it. Making an achievement or accomplishing something in the game is more satisfying when there's a story attached to it.
Oh yeah, you fucking complain. You complain.
I do complain, but I mean...
About my lore.
What?
About my lore. My sweet, tender, properly cooked lore.
Well, I felt you just should have put a little bit of pepper, and it would have been fun. That's just... that's how I would have liked it. But
I'm glad you kept the cooking analogy.
No, but this character, it's like, okay, so then he's addicted to rocks, and then, like, he stands up Shelly to... I'm not getting over this. She stands up Shelly to go watch anime. And
your character's not super hot, by the way. Your character's like a 6.
I'm still a 6. I'm a perfectly good 6 out of 10.
I mean, sex appeal and so forth is about attitude. Your character has a little bit of something for attitude.
I have a really sexy attitude. I got a specialty in seduction.
Your character does have a skill in seduction. She knows where to touch the peoples to get what she wants.
I do. I've given him half a stock before. I've flirted with him and given Doug a direction. So there's the thing. So
I love hearing that.
This will turn into a romance game, one way or another.
I'm not going to be a part of that.
We are turning this into Black Tokyo.
You guys can go off into the closet and RP your character banging all you want.
Which is really gay.
Nah, I remember one time I was on a furry chat and I was yiffing. But I was like probably 18 for all the fuck I know. But anyhow, being a big loser. And talk to the person afterwards because I'm like, hey, what if she's a cute chick? Because that's the hope of every nerd on the internet, is that the person they're talking to is a cute chick. They'll come into your life, flip it upside down, and everything will be great.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it turned out it was a dude. And I'm just like, never RP'd Yiff with that guy again.
Yeah. It's like traps.
It was a betrayal.
Yeah, because traps are gay.
Yeah, it was like, traps are gay. There's all these people being like, traps aren't gay. And I'm like, I mean, they're not even, I don't know if traps are even trying to be transgender, which makes it totally gay. Not even like partially gay. Like, oh, but they're a woman inside. It's like, no, that guy's going to keep his dick. He just likes dressing up as a girl. But, no, like, nonetheless, you still have to fuck a trap in the ass, so that does make it gay. And that your balls would be slapping against, which makes it even gayer. I'm just saying, like, I get in this argument, too, like, alongside the Wonder Woman arguments on the internet. I was just sitting there be like, no, god damn it, you stupid incel, traps are gay. And they're like, no, man, I could just close my eyes really tight and feel his balls against yours.
It's
yeah,
still
sure.
Gay.
Doesn't change the fact that when you really crunch up against that taint, your scrot hairs get caught up in his scrot hairs. And you have to peel them apart like Velcro.
So about you yiffing.
Oh, gosh. Going back to the rape thing that he wanted to do. So,
okay.
Like I said, to approach that as a story, I'm like, all right. But, like, to say that that's someone's, like, defining characteristic, like, it shouldn't be, oh, she's the one that got raped. It should be like, you know, oh, she's a poet. She likes to play the violin. She was going to college over in Amsterdam. And then she got raped, unfortunately, during a frat party or while doing mission work, for all I care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to have, like, you know, more to a character than saying they're the one that got raped. That to me is just like, wow, that is lazy.
Yeah. I didn't. It was so out of nowhere, and then like the whole kimono thing, that just seemed like typical.
Like it's the only characteristic he gave that character to me, besides the fact that she's a bitch. And I'm like, and like, you know, it's like she got raped and she's a bitch, and I'm like, man, I mean, why would anybody like? Why like? What's the motivation for the rapist even? Like, oh, she's really hot, but she's a bitch. And I'm like, I guess I can see that. Like, I'm trying to, like, work it in my head how this happened. I'm even trying to create, like, because I have to go from every angle when I'm creating the story here. And I'm like, could the rapist still be involved? Like, you know, what's going on there? And, like, he just, like, threw this at me out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, so first off, you said you're going to have...
I think that's the thing. That's a major event. You can't just, like, fucking... say, oh yeah, by the way, she got raped. No, fucker. It's like, wait a minute.
By the way, though. Like, that's fine. And in the end, like, that's fine. You can't have a character define rape unless they're actually a victim character. Like, alright, so there's this game called Dead Island. And this, to me, is a great thing to look at if you're ever considering having a character get raped and make it a story piece. It is an example of what not to do. So this character is the Whoopi.
I do love not what to do. It's just like they're great. This is what you shouldn't make in a story. Go ahead.
All right. So the not what to do here is this character is the Whoopi, which is already a bad place to start, because then you're saying from there on out, don't get emotionally invested in any of these characters if they're nice, because I'm going to do bad shit to them and it will make you unhappy. It's like you can only crush the cutie like once or twice in a story. All right?
Yeah.
That's a trope. It's where you do something horrible to a cute character.
Yeah, like
if you do it over and over again, people learn not to care about your characters.
Like that kid who gets turned into a chimera with the dog in Full Metal Alchemist, real early on. That really fucked up moment.
That one is just to talk about the cruelty of stuff. That was a crush the cutie moment, except it was a kill the Whoopi, actually, more than anything.
I thought it was effective. I thought I liked it being used there. It's like
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
but like rape is a very delicate subject in itself to begin with.
Yes.
And, you know, people won't let you make jokes about it. People won't let you, you know...
Again, quoting Carlin, you should be able to make a joke about anything, including really rape.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's a delicate subject.
Elmer Fudd raping Porky Pig.
Yes, I know the bit.
Go ahead.
But I'm saying that, as a writer, to not make it seem just cliche and allegory, he's doing. Not allegory even, it's not an allegory, it's fucking, you know, she had to have something tragic happen to her, which either A, turned her into a bitch, or, like, you know, was the bitchiness always there and ever present?
Yeah, sometimes that just happens. That's what happened to my sister Michelle. She's always been a bitch.
Yeah. Never met your sister, but from the impressions I get, she's just... And, you know, I would believe that, you know, because, you know, that's the main trait you gave her, where you're like, yeah, it's Michelle, she's a bitch. Yeah. Instead, he gave me, this is my sister, she got raped. And I'm just like, what, how do I... Because for me, I'm just like, am I going to put... Like, I don't want to even use this character. It's not because, I don't want to have something there for stuff that's contention or other stuff. But like, it's not hard for me to work with because I'm immoral as fuck, and I'll just be like, well, she got raped to death afterwards. And
God damn.
but I will just finish the job. Like, if I don't like a character, that's how it is. They're like, oh, character edgy, he survived a POW camp, and yada yada, and I'm like, okay. And then I kill that character because I'm like, this character's weak. Like, that's Doug's current problem, is his characters become weaker and weaker. And this is a side effect of his death, to be honest. But
yeah. I don't want to go into what we talked about, but I think it would be very interesting if Shelley were actually to learn that.
Yeah.
Because that would definitely change like how she looks at Doug, and what I would do next. It was like that'd be like, ho, your whole turn us against each other thing would be working.
What? I ain't gonna listen to that. Don't want you to repeat it.
I didn't say anything. I didn't know.
But man, you're killing me, Eduardo. Oh yeah, I still have to do stuff with Eduardo. That's fun.
Yeah, we had to do that. We were talking about. I feel satisfied. I feel I got my answer about Doug. The weeb thing. I can't let this go. Yeah, it's just, I don't. He's such a weeb. He's such a weeb. It's like, okay, like one of the first things he showed me was like a game he was playing. There's like a game, like the whole point of it is that like, all right. So this is before we did anything World of Darkness related. And again, you and I are both old World of Darkness fans. I'm a giant vampire whore. I love vampires.
Just tell me what he was playing, goddammit.
All right,
story.
I'm painting a picture. Fine.
You're fucking paint with broad strokes.
Okay. Well, he's playing this game where it's like an anime game, and the point is that like this town's been taken over by vampires. But the way you beat the vampires is the vampires run around in daylight and wear heavy clothing. So you have to beat their clothing off, so then they're exposed to the sunlight, and that weakens them, and that's how you beat them. And it doesn't kill them, but it makes them weakened.
Do you fuck them?
No, you don't. But a lot of them are hot chicks, so you're knocking their clothes off. So, huh?
Oh, man. Has this, like, how many girlfriends has he had? Oh, God, I ain't got to get...
Let's not.
I'm going to start fucking examining this kid. Like, I understand where it's coming from, and I want to help him move beyond it. Because I've been in the same place as an early life weeb, and you mix up two things. You mix up, you can end up in an incel territory very easily, is what my problem is with this. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's nothing problem with playing pervy games. I don't mind that too much. I mean, I played Monster Girl Quest and fucking Corruption of Champions, and anybody listening at this point is just typing that in. But good luck with you guys. But
well, yeah. I mean, my whole thing was this. This just seems so lame, especially like this is a vampire story. This is as good as you got. It's like
me, I'm just
its worst is like a masterpiece compared to this. It's like season 6 of Buffy is like brilliant.
For me, when I hear someone's looking at softcore, not even hardcore porn. When I hear someone's like, they don't even get fully naked. It's just so you can see some pantsu. I'm like, great. You're gonna turn yourself into a fucking American otaku. Which, by the way, otaku is an insult to everybody involved. Otakus call each other otaku because it's like them taking back the word, whatever. But no, it's still an insult. You're still fucking... And there's nothing wrong with being a loser. I ain't saying that. Like, it's hard not to paint myself in the corner where I sound like, I'm sticking up for the fucking Chad. But I'm saying that you are going to... Like, Xentius is into this and so forth. Like, for me, it's like, why don't you watch real porn? Like, why you have to sit there and play this game? It's like, because boobies are fun. That's all it is the boobies are fun, and it's not an actual game otherwise. Like, if you lose the boobs, like, I mean, I've played dating simulators. Once you get rid of...
That's the thing. Titties are fun, and it's like, but like, I kind of, like, there's been there's a history of like weird levels of like sexual entertainment. It's like, of course you have porn, but like then you've always had stuff that's like not porn, but it's all about the tits. You have those like the American Pie movies where it's like a girl might get naked,
Oh, you're talking about Lampoon level stuff.
Yeah, national. Yeah, but like that's old. I mean, there was stuff before that. There was stuff before that was like.
Yeah, people like tits.
Yeah, people like tits, but at a certain point, it's like I feel like, especially like nowadays with porn readily accessible, it's like, why are you enjoying something that has tits in it, but nothing's gonna happen? Like, again.
I mean, it's not even like you can jerk off to. Like, you're just sitting there being like looking at swimsuits, and maybe you could jerk off to that. That's not the thing. Like, you don't have to reach sexual satisfaction, but it's not safe for work. And it's like you play that in your fucking dorm, hidden away from everybody else, because you know that people are gonna be like, dude, why, what the fuck, dude, why?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's but I do like that his idea for that one sister with the kimono was basically Lena. It's just I'm glad he reminded me of Lena.
Holy fuck!
Yeah,
it was really sad that I told you the really disturbing information right there, the spot where I found out that she was on like OkCupid and we were like really high match. But I'm led to believe that she kept coming back and augmenting her profile to match. Ugh.
To match to you?
Yeah. She's like one of those sad, codependent people that would.
Interesting. I haven't seen Lena in a long time, so.
Yeah, I'm sure she eventually got murdered by her abusive boy.
I'm pretty sure she's still alive. I hope so.
I mean, I'd rather her be alive, but I mean, don't fucking stay with somebody that abuses you. It's that simple.
I've never been impressed with like the guys she dates, or at least the stories I've heard of it. It's like, and again, I don't know. A lot of that comes from Robin, so I don't know how much of it's true.
Her upbringing was fucking tragic, practically. Yeah. But to not rebel from it in a way that's healthy, like that to me says, like, you have the deep problems now because you won't even realize that there's flaws here.
Yeah, but it's but yeah, I can't. That was the first thing that came to my mind. It was just so like okay, she's really into kimonos, and it's like, who do I know who's really into kimonos for no reason? Oh my God, Lena. It's like,
yeah, that was pretty weird to me too.
But it's the other thing. The reason why I don't want to shit on Xenius. Xenius is a friend, and I care about him. But I do feel like it's just like I feel like again I've known many a weeaboo, and it just this weird stuff crops up.
Reaches a dark place. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It always reaches a dark place.
Yeah.
I'm an example of the dark place you will reach. And, I mean, I'm just not even well-adjusted. That's why I'm half normal seeming. Because I can sit there and mock myself relentlessly for actually being a part of this.
You know what we should do? We should make jokes claiming that we're pedophiles, and in 9 years, I'll get fired from Disney for making them.
You know what?
An alt-writer. Let's do that.
You just keep starting to do that, and I will sit here and watch.
Yeah, let's yeah, I'm totally gonna. Well, you gotta like put on a, I don't know. You gotta put on like Toxic Avengers in the background so you can be Lloyd Kaufman.
What?
You gotta put on like Toxic Avengers in the background so you can be Lloyd Kaufman.
Deep references. Anyhow.
Yeah. All right. So we were talking about Wonder Woman. And you were talking about how you hated the Wonder Woman movie. Let's finish with this.
All right, we're gonna finish this tangent. Put a fucking nice bow on it when we're done, and never visit it again.
Well, so we'll visit it again, sir.
It doesn't pass the Bushdale test, which is a great indicator of whether or not fully adjusted and adapted. It's like well adjusted, I should say, not fully adjusted. But so it doesn't pass the Bushdale test if you make one small augment to it. There's all these other weird flaws that it has, like the fucking hey, we gotta whip out our dicks. Immediately, we have to make this man naked. Yeah. Like, why? Because we got to show that he's a man, and that he has a penis, and that women have vaginas, and men have penis, and this is 6th grade all over. Not 6th grade, sorry. 6 years old. Yeah, 6th grade. We all whipped our chunk out. No, but we're all 6 years old.
6th grade?
And the only defining
acts show up shortly after.
that mean anything are vaginas and peepees. And, like, it drives me fucking up the wall that they have to include this, because then he has to talk about how big his dick is.
Yeah.
There's that scene, and then there's the one where they have to make. And then they fucked. I hate every movie.
Hang on, you cut off for a minute. Repeat that.
Sorry, what?
You cut off for a minute. Like,
hello?
Yeah, I'm here, but like you got cut off when you were talking about like after like showing off his pee-pee.
Oh yeah, I was just making more weird comments. But the thing that also annoys me is that they fuck. And I'm like, like Wonder Woman is attracted to, I guess, a strong, capable man would qualify as him because inside the series, the animated series, which is the only thing I want to base this off of, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is Batman. She's like, hey, Batty boy, and he's like, no. And I think there's part of that forbidden fruit thing going on there, where it makes you want him more. And Batman's just playing the game because he's, tagged Ra's al Ghul's daughter and fucking Selena Kyle and fucking probably Harley Quinn would throw it at him. Barbara is after his bat balls too. So,
Well, and if you get Frank Miller writing, then he'll have fucked every female character in the Batman universe. It'll happen.
Every character in 5 year.
Listen, like Frank will straight up just write Batman porn, and then Linkara will complain about it, and that's why God bless Frank Miller.
Okay,
I approve.
But, so what I'm getting back to is the movie. Then you had the fucking evil guy who you knew wasn't the actual guy, but there she is going to go after him anyways, and then find out that he wasn't actually Ares all along. And, the foil, oh, this guy was secretly Ares the whole time. Wasn't that dramatic to me. I was just like, yep. Because, it was just dumb shit anyways, to get the plot going, I guess, in the background. And, the other problems. If you want to get meta, it has more problems.
Yeah.
So, the fact that, Israel is a thing, and Israel is filled with pretty shitty stuff.
Oh, we've had this argument about her before.
Yeah, we did have the argument. Now, bringing up politics, and that shit.
I disagree automatically, because if I recall my response to this, it's like...
you're pro-Israel, I get it.
I am pro-Israel, so...
And
I'm not anti-Arab. I like Arabs. I just don't like the ones that blow people up. Go ahead. So.
Nah, I understand it's more complex than me just being against her for her involvement and praise of the Israeli army.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just it's the same problem that we have in America where people just say, well, every soldier deserves respect, and it's like, no.
I've met plenty of sailors and soldiers that don't deserve respect. I've met plenty of them that do. But
plenty that do.
The ones there's definitely some in the service that are pieces of fucking shit. I've met them.
Well, no, but I'm just saying. My thing is, respect should never be freely given, ever. No circumstance. There's always people being like, you have to respect the office of the president. I'm like, doesn't have the president do that first? But
I don't respect this president. I don't respect Trump.
Yeah. That's all the Trump robots like to repeat is you got to respect the president. It's like, the fuck I do. Didn't you guys fucking lynch Obama figurines last 8 years? Don't give me that shit.
Yeah, they didn't fucking respect him at all.
It's just the duplicity of these tribal parties that have gotten worse and worse. But nonetheless,
and that's my problem with it. I'm sick of the tribalism. As
much as I don't like was talking great about the Israeli military. And it's really, you shouldn't, the person representing Wonder Woman shouldn't be somebody that, is a person that's probably shot kids.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's kind of my problem.
Active duty. She seems a bit too hot, unless all Israeli women look like that. All for going to shut down the Gaza Strip to save these gorgeous creatures. Because I remember the one that they had in DayZ was pretty hot too. But nonetheless, that's just Hollywood looks coming back to bite me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the ongoing problems with Marvel comics is the SJW Marvel stuff, and one thing that was brought up by a guy, Yellow Flash, who I've actually got some problems with, is that there's Ta-Nehisi Coates, who
is it jaundice?
Huh?
Is it because he has jaundice?
Possibly. No, it's something else, but it's possibly because he has jaundice. Okay, so there's a guy, Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's an asshole who's writing Captain America right now. And he's, but one of the things that, he's, a lot of the problems with Marvel right now is they're doing all this SJW crap. And what they're doing now is, in the books, Antifa is fighting in the streets with with alt-righters who are Hydra, and Captain America is like joining Antifa and fighting the Hydra stuff. So it's like, I agree with him on that. That shouldn't happen. I can almost see it because it's like, okay, you fuckers are waving Hydra banners around. Yeah, Captain America's anti-Hydra. If you're going to be pro-Hydra, expect Captain America's fists in your face. I can get that. But it's very clear that they're putting Cap on the very far liberal side of things. And the fact of the matter is as I feel, everybody in this debate, whether they be alt-right or they be Antifa, are massive assholes, and they can both fuck off. And what Cap should be doing... Now, here's the thing. Captain America should be involved in our politics. He always has been. But what Captain America should be doing is he should be trying to stop the fighting. Captain America represents all Americans, regardless of political affiliation. And regardless of the fact that he has a moral conscience. And he should be trying to get people to stop fighting, regardless of the fact that we may disagree, but we're still Americans. We should do that. Or if they're going to get that violent, I can see Captain America getting pissed at both sides and beating the shit out of everybody. And it's like, all right, if you guys are gonna do this, it's like, no, I'm not gonna let you kill each other. And if I gotta knock sense into you, I'll do it. So I mean, and again, that might be a little dark for him too. I remember back during Maximum Carnage. This was back when Spider-Man was very angsty and edgelordy. The idea was Carnage was leading a group of psychotic villains through New York City and causing New Yorkers to panic and get super violent and crazy, and literally like. Carnage was causing insanity to spread. It wasn't just him killing people. It was just people going nuts and just beating the shit out of each other. And Spider-Man had to get a group of heroes and anti-heroes together to fight it. But it got to the point where he's fighting in the streets with ordinary people who are going nuts, and he was getting super pissed. And so there's a quote where he's like, "You're going to act like animals. I'll treat you like animals. From this moment on, you'll get no sympathy from Spider-Man." And he was already in a dark place anyway. But it was like he was getting like, just like, all right, if that's what I got to do, fine, I will beat the shit out of all of you people. Spider-Man reached that point. Now, the moral at the end of Maximum Carnage is that there were characters like Venom and Morbius who were pushing to kill Carnage. They were pushing to use more violent actions to bring Carnage in. And at the end of the day, Venom's methods didn't work. The more violent methods didn't save the day. Spider-Man and heroes like Captain America and the other heroes basically holding back is actually what saved the day. And they actually brought them in without killing them. So, it might be a little dark for Captain America. My problem with Yellow Flash is Yellow Flash appears to be... he's one of these guys who's getting like upset about the direction Marvel's going in, which is fine. But it feels like he's kind of jumping on a bandwagon. And he's acting like... They're doing this thing which reminds me of Mega, where we want to make America great again. We want to get back to America how America used to be.
It's MAGA.
Yeah, MAGA, whatever. I don't care. Like, I respect the movement. But they want to get...
When you say it like that, it sounds like you're saying mega, and I'm like, what's mega?
Maybe it should be mega. Maybe it should be that. You know? Mega Man. It should be a Mega Man movement. Anyway.
No, it's MAGA. Don't bring megas anything into this.
I don't know what I referenced. Anyway, like, the point is, it's like, part of my problem with Mega is that they're MAGA, whatever, fuck you. I'm trying to finish this point.
Your words.
Shut up! They're trying to bring America back to this quaint apple pie bullshit era that never existed in the fucking first place.
Yeah, they got fucking NIMBYs.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and they're claiming to do that from a conservative viewpoint. And the thing is, like, a lot of these people that are getting outraged at Marvel right now are kind of doing the same shit. Yes, it is too far to the left right now, seriously, but the thing is, Marvel and comics in general have always been left-leaning. Always. And they've always had political commentary. What really annoyed me about Yellow Flash is in that same issue where Captain America joins Antifa, which I'm against. This guy is ranting and raving about this character he was insulted by, who was like he was insulting soldiers because he was like a crazy soldier, and it was this character that is like a military guy. He's like he's a military vet. He's got an American flag on his face, and he's basically saying all this violent patriotic stuff. And he's like, this is insulting. He's basically insulting the military and stuff like that and things like that. Now, here's my problem with this. My problem is Yellow Flash is fucking stupid and doesn't fucking know anything about comics. Because that's a pre-existing fucking character. That's Nuke. Nuke is an older Captain America and Daredevil villain. And the entire point of him is that he's an insane Vietnam vet. That's the point. He's he's a failed captain. He's a failed super soldier experiment. He's a guy that came back from Vietnam. He came back fucked up from all the violence and all the killing out there. He's kind of, if like Captain America is a good example of if Captain America is the symbol of freedom, but also a symbol of good patriotism, Nuke is a symbol of bad patriotism. Nuke is a symbol of a person who all he has is blind devotion to his country, but also without his country is not going out of its way to help him. He's combat fucked up and violent and with serious PTSD, and he's blaming everybody else for it. So he gets violent and shoots people in the streets. And there's other things to him too, like he's got like his skin. He's got that kind of like cyberware thing where it's like he's got like hard plastic underneath his skin. It's not really metal, but it's like he has like this kind of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got the space. So he's bulletproof basically. And he also, his other thing is he's addicted to drugs. He takes these drugs that basically give him powers, and like specifically the red pills. The red pills give him like super strength and stamina, and basically enable him to go more. He basically can like barbarian rage with that.
Make fun of those fuckers. Go on.
Yeah, and basically his quote is "Give me a red," because like the red pills are the ones that make him really strong. And yeah, and he's gone like on shooting sprees, killing people in like New York City in the comics before. He's a major Captain America villain. He's a major Daredevil villain, and that's the thing. Captain America will deal with that. Captain America will deal with political issues and issues of patriotism and issues of whether or not our country is what it should be. Like if we're actually living up to our values, or if we're betraying them and being corrupt.
I forgot about the time he switched out and was no longer Captain America because of Nixon.
Yeah, that stuff has happened before. And it's like, there's other characters like, dude, if this guy's a problem with Nuke and thinks like Nuke is a poor representation of soldiers, goddamn, what would he think of Flag Smasher? Son of a bitch. But yeah, my problem is this guy's jumping on this bandwagon, hating on the direction Marvel's going in, which I can appreciate. But at the same time, he doesn't seem to really know what he's fucking talking about.
No, lots of people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, Eddie.
Yeah. But it's like, if you're going to do this, if you're going to comment on this, you should fucking actually be a scholar of comics to point out the fact that, yeah, it's going too far in one political direction. You know, again, I don't have a problem that, like, we got to...
It sounds like you want respectable journalism from the alt-right.
That would be nice. That would be nice. Is it so wrong for me to have, like, Republican friends, like, that I can trust? Is it so much to ask? Is it so much to ask, Malmodo?
Yes, Eddie. It is too much to ask the world that people unite under the same banner of reason and fact.
Well, they should. And I much like Angel in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is a game we're going to play, I believe in being a champion and showing the world what it could be by living as if the world is what it should be, so I can show it what it can be. That's what I believe in, and that's the attitude I have. We should do the right thing in that regard. And that said, what do you want to play in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the role-playing game? Which we're probably not going to run tonight, but like we'll run eventually. Do you want to make up a character? Do you want to play a character from the show? Do you want to play an archetype?
More about the system. Because I'll break it. You realize? I'm
fine with that. I'm actually prepared for you to break it. Famous last words.
Never prepared.
But okay, did you want to know more about the world? Would that help you?
No, the world I'll learn really quickly, Truck. Okay. I want to know about the system. I'll have to see this, what'd you call it, the Unity system?
The Uni system, okay, that's the thing. Alright, so the book tells you how to build a character. What confused me is it didn't seem to like do a good job of actually explaining the system. I found it online, and here, if you don't mind, I'll read it. Uni system, generic system with stated design goals of simplicity, comprehensiveness, and invisibility. There's also a cinematic version of the rules, which is fewer skills, no secondary attributes or essence, or simplified combat. Okay, so your attributes are kind of like D&D, sort of, kind of. It's like strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, perception, and willpower. No charisma stat, apparently. A human range is 1 to 6.
But how will I be 6? Or sexy? Yeah. 1 to 6 human range? What's that mean?
Well, that's
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like World of Darkness. Like, 1 is you're weak and frail, 6 is...
What are the dice you use and how do you succeed?
Huh?
What are the dice you use and how do you succeed?
Well, okay, let's skip down. Resolution rolls. Okay. Success, you take your attribute and your skill, and you roll 1d10, and plus the difficulty modifier. And If it's 9 or greater, cards can also be used. Also has tables for degree of success that can give bonuses. It is emphasized that rolls should only be made when they have an impact on the story and encourage the chronicler or GM to ignore or alter rolls that disrupt the plot. So, it sounds kind of like World of Darkness, where you want to roll like a 9. You want to roll like at least instead. World of Darkness is you need an 8.
All right, a 9 is a 20% chance to succeed.
Yeah, and but here's the thing: you get a lot of modifiers to which you can put into various things in order to succeed. And then there's degrees of success that are listed on your character sheet. So 10 and 11 are like +1, 12 to 13 is +2, and so on and so forth. And that's the thing. I rolled up a character last night and was kind of going through the adventure to just kind of like get a feel for it, and I felt like I was rolling wrong. So that's why I wanted to read this. There's more stuff. There's also a story-driven version where the chronicler GM judges the outcome. If a character's skill plus attribute is greater than the opponent, or the difficulty number it succeeds, otherwise it fails. If the role-playing part of the action is good enough, the numbers are ignored and the action is automatic success. There's a bunch of other stuff here. The rule of 10. On a 10, roll again. Subtract 5. If above 0, add to the result. And so it's like, so you can kind of, that's your critical hit. Again, kind of like a 10 again in World of Darkness.
Yeah.
Rule of 1. On a 1, roll again, subtract 5. If negative, replace the first roll. So that's your critical miss. It must be decided which attribute is used with the skill each roll. There are defaults. When no
that
skills...
botch is too heavy.
What's that?
It's a 10% botch chance.
Yeah.
And I mean, the new roll might save you, but if you subtract 5, the new roll's a 5 at the best that you could get.
Yeah, so it would be a critical miss, but here's the thing, you get modifiers. So I think it's the type of thing where you get a 10, that's a crit. So you roll again and you add to it, and you add to what your roll would already have been.
Oh, okay.
So you roll a 1, if you have like a high skill in it, you could definitely save yourself. It's like, yeah, no, dude, seriously, like it's very easy to like I've been playing around with this. It's very easy for me to make crazy bullshit in this system. I built Apocalypse in this from X-Men. I did that. So, I mean, it's like, and I had to kind of fudge things because I'm insane and I'm a mad scientist, but I was able to do it. When no skill is applicable, the attribute alone is used. It is doubled for simple tests, but not for difficult tests. I've been reading stuff like that in the book for that.
Simple tests are probably...
I've been wondering about like in World of Darkness where you have like a chance roll. I think this is about that. Unskilled attempts rely on the attributes and take a penalty according to the complexity. All right, that's not too difficult. There are simple rules for fear tests that usually mean the character freezes but can be resolved on a fear table. Combat resolution. Combat is divided into turns, 1 to 5 seconds, stated as enough time for a normal person to perform one combat task. In a turn, intentions are declared, initiative determined by the chronicler or randomly, then performance, attack, defense, etc., and damage is resolved for all the characters. Damage is determined by the dice, D4, D6, D8, or D10, multiplied by strength, or a fixed number for the weapon. A lot of it is like in your combat maneuvers for the game itself, so they go into detail about that. Damage reduces a character's life points, which imposes a flexible penalty of -1 to -5 at 5 life points. This seems very similar to World of Darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm liking the system so far.
What's that?
I'm liking the system so far.
Yeah, this seems like kind of a variation of it. It's kind of like if like World of Darkness and Savage Worlds fucked and made Buffy. So, knockdown, stunned, or semi-conscious is at 0, but a willpower plus Constitution test can be used to get back up. At -10 or worse, the character must make a survival test rolling willpower and Constitution with a penalty of -1 per 10 life points below 0. If failed, the character dies. So it's like -10 rule for D20, but better. Otherwise, another roll must be made in a minute with a cumulative -1 penalty unless stabilized with a first aid. If less than 0, life points are regained at 1 point per Constitution per level per day, or rest under medical care. If 0 or higher life points are regained at 2 per day, first aid regains 1 life point per success level. In a story-driven version, damage is either assigned from fixed values listed with every weapon or the chronicler. GM assigns wounds, which are either light, serious, or critical, to suit the dramatic needs of the game. There are also rules for endure point loss, including during combat. Loss of endurance points leads to dizziness and eventual unconsciousness. Characters may perform one attack and one defense task in close combat. Additional tasks take a -2 cumulative penalty. Optional detailed close combat rules. Defensive posture is a +3 bonus but no attacks. Aggressive posture +2 bonus but no defense. Fainting grants +1 to the next attack per success level.
This is complex.
Huh?
So this is a bit complex to convey. You have to see a copy of the documents.
Let me see if I can find well, I'll send it to you in a minute, actually, because I found it on one computer. I'm reading it off of that one. It's not on this one.
Okay.
Range fire must be dodged by jumping behind cover. No other actions can be taken, and so it is easy to become pinned down behind cover. Aiming delays the attack to the end of the turn, but adds a +1 bonus per success level. Specific body parts can be targeted, but rules are inclined for dramatic purposes not to be used as a standard combat rules. Armor values are expressed like damage with a die roll and multiplier that determines...
Something interesting there?
Huh?
Aiming delays the attack to the end of the turn.
What's that?
Aiming delays the attack to the end of the return. Are there priorities?
Yes. So yeah, delay. It's almost like holding your action, but it's like you wait till the end of the turn and then you shoot, but you have a bonus to it. So you can still fire on that turn. You don't have to wait to the next turn. But you go last though.
That's
Armor values expressed like damage with a die roll and multiplier that determines how much damage was absorbed. Wearing armor imposes an encumbrance penalty based on the class of armor. Social interaction. There are no special rules for social interactions and a handful of social skills: intimidation, haggling, cheating, questioning, seduction, smooth talking, and storytelling. Character development. Characters are rewarded in experience points at the end of each session, which can be used to improve attributes, skills, specialties, qualities, essence, remove a drawback, or learn magic. For example, invocations, powers, necromantics, inspired miracles, and witchcraft. This is the overall system, not specifically Buffy, though. An attribute can only be raised 1 level, and if above, a threshold value doubles in cost. To learn or improve a skill or attribute, it must have been used in previous game sessions or time spent practicing it. Changes to qualities, drawbacks, and metaphysical powers requires events or circumstances to support the change. Do you want me to get into the magic effects or the metaphysical effects?
I'll read those.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like, that's the thing, like, okay, you know me, I always play fighters. So it's like, when we start throwing magic into the whole thing, I get confused. So, but yeah. What would you like to play?
I'll have to look at the weapons and other roles for me to decide if I'm going to be anything mystic. But,
you want to stop here? We can go through, like, little, like, character creation? Like, because I've got the books, so if you want, I can basically give you, like, I can tell you how to, like, make a character. Because I think you have to pay for them, so, like, because I was able to get the Buffy book for free, but I wasn't able to get, the other ones I had to actually buy. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think?
I missed what you said.
Do you want to, like, let's stop the recording here and, like, we'll do some character. I'll help you build a character.
I can't stay up much later, actually. I have to get up and watch these kids in probably 4 hours.
Well, do you want me to, like, give you, you want me to tell you, like the basics of character creation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, let's do that.
We'll stop the recording so you can go over that.
Okay, cool. And this has been the Dreadpirate MALMODO Podcast. Like, hope you all enjoyed it. We've been going for 3 hours now. So, night, folks.